Tight end lines up to the left side. They're going to pitch and sweep to the left side, cutting it upfield at the 45, lowers his head and pings through a defender at the Yellowjacket 47-yard line. Mortensen showing some power out.
This is Sholo Ford's presentation of high school football on iTalk 106.7 and worldwide on iTalk1067.com.
This one batted down at the line of scrimmage and picked off at the 28 to the 20 to the 15-10. Watson's going to score for the Yellowjackets.
It's time for the Cellular One pregame show, brought to you by Cellular One. Live connected with Cellular One.
And you're hot.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is football on a Monday night. That's like big time, Monday night football. But we are here in the Round Valley Dome for the Division IV state semifinals in the championships. It's the Blue Ridge Yellowjackets. They'll be the visiting team tonight against the Sholo Cougars. And everybody's playing tonight, Brandon, all across the state. A lot of big games, but I think we have one of the best here tonight.
Well, you know, you could possibly make the argument that this might be the state championship game depending on who wins. But you're right, it does feel like a Monday night football game because the atmosphere, Sholo versus Blue Ridge rivals. The game got postponed, so just the anticipation had 2 more days to build. And trust me, these guys, these teams want to go after each other. Well,
I'll tell you, it's interesting that the communities are just about 10 miles apart, and yet everybody had to travel about 45 miles over here to Round Valley. As folks know, the game was postponed from Snowflake on Saturday due to weather, which I think was a rather good decision. Perhaps the AIA will rethink their scheduling a little bit about putting games up here at this time of year. The weather just a little bit too much of an X factor. But let's talk real quick, Brandon, about how these teams got here. Last week in the Division IV quarterfinals, it was the Blue Ridge Yellowjackets victorious over the Coolidge Bears, almost like a rivalry renewed in the state playoffs, but Coolidge not really up to the task last week. Blue Ridge handled them pretty easily.
Yeah, they did. I think that they goose-egged them, which is always a testament to any playoff team. You expect it sometimes during the year when you're playing those subpar teams, but come playoff time, everyone's pretty much on the same level. So to come out strong that they did and goose-egg them is quite the statement. And also it gave them a chance to get some of those younger guys in, save those starters for this big game right here.
Absolutely. We'll talk more about that luxury plus the extra 2 days of rest it had for both these teams. For the Sholo Cougars last week, they played against I forgot. Safford, thank you. The Safford Bulldogs handled them very easily, put up over 60 points. Safford did put up about 18, but really insignificant time of the game. It was over long before that. The Sholo Cougars, of course, they seem to be continuing right where they left off, firing on all cylinders, getting a lot of their offensive weapons going and back really to full strength.
Yeah, and actually I think last week was a benefit to them getting those guys back because it wasn't a close game. They didn't have to play some of those somewhat injured folks. They got a chance to get them out of the game and to get those replacements in there. Once they got that big enough lead. So for both teams, it was a good way for the starters to get some rest, and so it looks like tonight's game is full strength.
Well, and then the other side of the bracket, unfortunately, a lot of people probably wanted to see this game as a state championship game, but there is another side of the bracket. Last week, River Valley beat Snowflake High School. A lot of people thought that was going to be one of the teams that could contend for the state championship, but River Valley took care of them 28-14. And, of course, Seton Catholic just got by a very game Winslow Bulldog team that gave them all they wanted. They Seton Catholic ended up winning 27-20, and so they play tonight down at North Canyon High School in Phoenix, and the winner of that game will await the winner of this one. But looking at common opponents, Brandon, I'm not sure that either one of those teams are going to match up with the winner from here tonight. No,
you're absolutely right, Mike. We saw earlier in the season how Snowflake actually beat Seton Catholic at Seton Catholic, and then Sholo and Blue Ridge both beat Snowflake during the regular season. So if you were to just keep following the loop, you'd think that both of these teams could handle either one of those teams. But you're right. I think that this game right here, but you never know. You can't count your chickens before they hatch. But it looks like this game right here, these two teams are just, they're the toughest in the league. And so whichever team wins here probably has the upper hand come that game on Saturday.
And they have been the top dogs, so to speak, in Division IV football and the 3A East for many years. The state champion has come from one of these two schools for quite a few years, with the one little hiccup last year. Seton Catholic able to take care of business last year. Also want to let viewers know and listeners know the Round Valley Elk were here in the Dome. They play tonight as well in the Division V semifinals, but they're down in the Valley playing Arizona Lutheran for the #1 seed for a chance to go on to the state championship there. So that's why this was vacated. But don't forget to stay tuned during our broadcast tonight, as we'll bring you scores from that game hopefully as well. You are listening to the Cellular One pregame show right here on iTalk 106.7 and on the web at iTalk1067.com. And we're going to continue by looking in depth into the Blue Ridge Yellowjackets and the Sholo Cougars when we come back right after this.
Yeah, I know everybody's talking about football, high school, college, pro, and why not? It's great. Here at Sholo Ford, we know that winning in football or selling trucks is all about attitude and execution. We're #1 in new Ford truck sales in the White Mountains for a reason. Guy Hatch will not be undersold, period. Save up to $10,000 on built Ford Tough trucks. Finance at 0% for up to 60 months and get cash back. And a lifetime warranty on top of it. Yeah, Ford has been the #1 selling truck for 36 years running, and Sholo Ford has been #1 in the White Mountains. Why? Because we are not just going to meet, but we are going to exceed your expectations. Ford's given us the trucks, Ford's given us the incentives, and we are giving you our promise. We won't be undersold on a new Ford truck. Nope, not here, not anywhere. That way we stay #1. Your friendly family Ford dealer, Sholo Ford, on the east end of the Deuce in Sholo. Thank you. All offers on approved credit. Offers not in conjunction, plus tax, title, license, and processing fees. Savings inclusive of all incentives, rebates, discounts on select models. Not all qualify. 0% varies by model and term. See dealer for details.
Back to the Cellular One pregame show live from the Round Valley Dome. It's the semifinals of the state Division IV state championships. Mike Renneal here with Brandon Todd. I want to thank Cellular One for sponsoring it. Faster is here now with Cellular One. Brandon, let's go ahead and get right into it. Talk about the visiting team for tonight, the Blue Ridge Yellowjackets. They have 2 losses on the season, losing once already to Sholo and losing a tough one over in Prescott. And the top players, we want to kind of highlight some players tonight, some key players that we think are going to show up tonight. And starting with the Blue Ridge Yellowjackets, it probably has to start on the offensive side of the ball with Spencer Hall.
Yeah, Spencer Hall, you know, we saw him earlier in the year struggle a little bit. And the Blue Ridge Yellowjackets is more of a run-first, pass-second team. But we saw the passing game kind of struggled. But these past 3, 4, 5 weeks, he's really stepped his game up and really improved since those first couple of games.
Yeah, and one of his, speaking of the running game, Chris Johnson, kind of the unsung hero for the Blue Ridge Yellowjackets, doesn't get as much notoriety as, say, Nolan Cook, but gets a lot of carries and is pretty dangerous being a shortcut coming out of that backfield.
Well, unlike Nolan Cook, who's got those big legs, he's more of those short yardage guys, 4, 5, 6 yards. But Chris Johnson, I mean, he's got some wheels. So if he gets around the edge, I think over 1,200 yards or something on the season. And so if he gets around the edge, it's going to be hard for anybody from Show Low to catch him.
Indeed, and of course, a big. I suppose for the Blue Ridge Yellowjackets, having Walker Lee back. He was injured for about 3 weeks, had a big comeback last week, a dominant performance. Obviously, that's going to be a big key for the Blue Ridge defense tonight.
Well, absolutely, it's going to be a big key because he's one of their main pass rushers. And so it's going to be key for him to get back in the backfield and stop those running backs for losses and hopefully get to Maxwell a few times. I think he's going to play a big part if Blue Ridge has a chance in this game.
And perhaps for the Blue Ridge Yellowjackets, the biggest X factor for them is number 6, Brennan Schimmel. Kind of the do-everything guy on offense. He's a receiver, plays quarterback, he carries the ball. And, of course, on defense, I mean, he's just kind of all over the field, and they really rely on him to contain a lot. A big X factor for Blue Ridge, you think?
Well, I mean, what an asset to have. I mean, a guy that you can ask to carry the ball or catch the ball and then also go on the defensive side and ask him to step up and make some big plays. So, absolutely, he's definitely a key player for tonight's win, absolutely.
All right, let's take a look at the Show Low Cougars. Actually, before we do that, Brandon, we kind of had a chance to talk with the Blue Ridge coaching staff, and I know one of the comments they made was that Blue Ridge was going to come out and at least fight tonight. They kind of felt like they rolled over a little bit last time against Show Low. What did you kind of gather from talking with the Blue Ridge coaches?
Well, Blue Ridge, these guys have been waiting for this game since they lost, and I don't think you could ask for a better scenario. Maybe the state championship game, but it'd be just as sweet to knock Show Low out of the chance of winning the championship. But yeah, absolutely, they're coming into this game hoping for a big fight. It's gonna be a grudge match. They're a little banged up, but nothing too serious. It's late in the season, so those type of injuries are expected. But so they're pretty much at full strength, and they're expecting a big game.
Well, let's talk about the Show Low Cougars. They're undefeated as far as Division 4 goes. They've lost some games to some bigger schools this year, but really have been dominant in the Division 4. And, of course, it starts and ends with Colby Maxwell. But before we talk about Colby Maxwell, we're going to take a quick break right here on the Southern One pregame show for the National Anthem. We'll be back right after this.
And you're clear.
Yeah, I know everybody's talking about football, high school, college, pro, and why not? It's great. Here at Show Low Ford, we know that winning in football or selling trucks is all about attitude and execution. We're #1 in new Ford truck sales in the White Mountains for a reason. Guy Hatch will not be undersold. Period. Save up to $10,000 on built Ford Tough trucks. Finance at 0% for up to 60 months and get cash back. And a lifetime warranty on top of it. Yeah, Ford has been the #1 selling truck for 36 years running, and Show Low Ford has been #1 in the White Mountains. Why? Because we are not just going to meet, but we are going to exceed your expectations. Ford's given us the trucks, Ford's given us the incentives, and we are giving you our promise. We won't be undersold on a new Ford truck. Nope, not here, not anywhere. That way we stay #1. Your friendly family Ford dealer. Show Low Ford on the east end of the Deuce in Show Low. Thank you. Hold on.
And you're hot.
Big physical linebacker that makes a lot of plays. He's a guy that got hurt, has a lower leg injury, and a guy that you really want back. He's back. Obviously, he's not to full speed, but I know it's definitely glad to have him back suited up on the sideline. But he's a guy that makes a big difference, a playmaker for the Show Low Cougars.
Huge contributor. They've missed him dearly, but he's back for tonight. We'll see how much. We'll see if he's at full strength tonight or not. Obviously, first game back is going to be a trial.
Absolutely, and obviously, as he, next week every day he gets is that much better as far as healing goes. But I tell you what, it speaks volumes. His 75%, 80% is probably better than most guys' 100%.
Also tonight on the Yellowjackets side of things, we're looking at Brennan Schimmel, Spencer Hall, Chris Johnson. They talked a little bit about Walker Lee, but let's talk a little bit about Spencer Hall.
Well, Spencer Hall, obviously quarterback for the Yellowjackets. I think Brandon Todd had mentioned early on that, Blue Ridge, a run-oriented type offense, run first, starting to spread things out a little bit. But, to Spencer Hall's credit, we saw him really step up in the air, doing a nice job, nice throws, really all aspects of his. On the ground, there have been times where he's let loose. Historically, we wouldn't have thought of him as a running type quarterback, but we've seen him have some success as well. Recognizes when he's got to get those tough yards.
Let's go downstairs for the coin toss.
I know you've seen each other before, but congratulations for being here in this game. It's a great game to be in. So, as always, we're playing this game with victory with honor. So hit as hard as you can during the down, but when the down is over, you can help each other up even. So no taunting, stare downs, things like that. Let's just have good, clean, hard football. The coin, the AIA coin, that's heads on that side, tails on the swirl side. You're the visiting team, and you get to call it. Tell him what you're going to call. He's calling heads. I'm going to flip it in there and let it hit. Heads is called, and it is tails. You have won the toss. You will receive. You're going to defend and kick this way? Okay, you go over on that side. You come over here. Cholo has won the toss and will receive at the south end zone.
All right, that's your coin toss, brought to you by Ace Hardware and your Ace Hardware keys to the game. Ace Hardware now with a 24/7 locksmith. We'll be back with the opening kick when we return. That's going to wrap up our Sell You the One pregame show, brought to you by Sell You the One. Now faster is here with Sell You the One. We'll be back right after this.
White Mountain Youth Productions bring you local high school sports, and they need your help. Your tax-deductible sponsorship keeps the high school students producing our local sports. To become a sponsor, call City 4 TV at 928-532-4160.
Welcome back to the Dome in Round Valley. We're set for high school football. As McBride gets set to put foot into it, you hear this crowd get to their feet. The state semifinals presented by Sholo 4. Line drive kick fielded by Van Winkle at the 4. Straight up the middle to the 20, 25, out to the 30. He'll be hung on and drugged down at the 34. Decent return. Good field position for the Cougars to start things out.
Absolutely, just a simple return up the inside. Nice little wall in front. And looked like he could have got maybe some more. Nice job by the Yellowjackets recovering. I mean, he still managed to get out just shy of the 35. Excellent field position for the Show Low Cougars. You know, one of the keys, Blue Ridge defense really needs to kind of hang in this thing. Last time these two teams met, Show Low, their tempo, they put some scores on the board. Blue Ridge couldn't stay up with them.
Colby Maxwell in the gun as the Cougars set up shop from their 34-yard line. On first down, fake to Crandall, hand it to Rove. Rove trying to get around the right edge, and he won't get there. Now he slips through. It's Fawcett on the carry. Fawcett slips a tackle at the line of scrimmage, and after contact, slips away and gets all the way out to the 34-yard line. Call it the 33 before he's brought down.
Little counter around the right side. Fawcett does an outstanding job. Looked like he got nothing, got 5 out of it.
Hand to Crandall. Crandall, big hole, has a first down and more. Midfield, he could go. 45, 40. Schimmel going to catch him from behind and drops him down at the Blue Ridge 30-yard line. And we got an injured Cougar player down at midfield for the Show Low Cougars. That is Marky Potter.
Marky Potter, number 77. The senior 6'1", 210 offensive lineman, a guy they really want to have on that front, especially Jace Wyatt not out there. So
that is huge.
Really need to get him. We'll see what happens. Hopefully they're definitely giving him some attention, but outstanding job running around the right side by the Show Low Cougars that time. And Blue Ridge are running up the right side. Good front lead blocking, and Blue Ridge defense having an opportunity now maybe to go try to regroup a little bit, because Show Low definitely putting together a great opening drive.
This is not good. They bring the stretcher out, and Potter in a lot of pain down there. We'll hope for the best there, and we see the Show Low coaching staff not happy with this either. Coach Reisdorf.
Looked like Coach Tenney a little bit.
We'll check it here for just a second, and we're now. I'm not sure if that is Marky Potter, but I think it is. We'll check on that in a moment. But let's go back to the play previous to that, Bill. What a run by Fawcett. I mean, he was hit at the line of scrimmage, had 2 or 3 guys.
Crandall, I think,
prior to that, on the first play, he gets away from 2 or 3 Blue Ridge defenders around that edge. Looked like he was going to be stopped for a loss on the play. He ends up turning it into a gain.
It does an outstanding job as far as stiff arm. I think you saw a stiff arm tackle came in early behind the line of scrimmage. Really looked like they were going to stop him, but he manages to fight him off with a good stiff arm, gets around the corner, and you mentioned it looked like no gain, good solid defensive coverage, and yet when the play was over, Fawcett managed to get 5 yards out of that.
That was great second effort by Fawcett that time to give, and here's the replay here. This is the handoff to Fawcett. You see him trying to turn the corner, and there you see him get away, and he slides over the top and rolls forward and gets some extra yardage after contact. Just a nice effort by Fawcett, not giving up. And of course, Crandall had a huge run on second down, gets the Lacey Weeks at Wallach and Volk Mortgage first down. Unfortunately for the Cougars, it looks like it's a possibly a broken leg. And from what we understand, I think it's Marky Potter that's on the field right now, and they've got the stretcher out and everybody trying to attend to him. The atmosphere in here dead silent at the moment.
Yeah, that's a tough way to start this thing. And again, we talk about it being a friendly rival, but these guys 100% effort, and just unfortunate. That's a guy that you want to have out there, and we'll see. Obviously, you can see family coming out there, but
and they one of the things, of course, that they are concerned about with a break of this nature is any cuts to main arteries.
things like that?
Obviously, circulation is a big factor. But again, we'll see. The upside is obviously it looked like there was medical attention immediately. They've got the stretcher out there. They've got an ambulance here. And right now it's just a matter of securing or stabilizing, and then they'll be transporting.
And I think we've got Ron Everingham downstairs. We'll see if we can get an update from him. Ron?
Yeah, I just talked to one of the emergency medical personnel that coming off the field, and I just asked her if it was broken. She said, yeah, it looks really bad. So unfortunate there for him.
All right, thanks, Ron. And obviously our thoughts and prayers go out to Marky Potter and his family at this moment. This is certainly not the way, as you mentioned, Bill, that they wanted to start this game. And coming off the heels of a big run. Here's the replay here as we see Crandall getting out in front, Marky Potter there in the back. As we'll rewind it for you here and go back. You can see Marky Potter on the ground there at the 50-yard line. Gets hit, comes in and gets contact here, and then looks like he got rolled into by a Yellow Jacket player who was down on the ground and trapped that leg. And obviously a very somber moment right now for the Cougars as they are huddled here on the near sideline and sending out their thoughts and prayers to their teammate Marky Potter. Marky Potter, a senior on this team, offensive lineman, also plays defensive end. He's just such a huge contributor to the Cougar team. The Cougars have been plagued with injuries throughout the season, but you don't hear much about it because they have so much depth on this team. They've been able to win in spite of a lot of the disadvantages that they've had in the injury department.
And I think that's what you find in smaller schools. Obviously, maybe it's the number of kids, depth. I think the Show Low Cougars have an outstanding team, though. And as you mentioned, they're one of those guys that seems like the next man up fills the spot equally as impressively. And they've done a great job all year long. But again, Marky Potter, a guy that plays both sides of the ball, a guy that you want on the field, and hopefully it'll be just a normal recovery, get him back out there and do the things that he does.
Well, we have our best wishes to the Potter family and to Marky Potter. This is obviously something he's not going to be able to return from tonight, and could very well be the end of the season for him here in his senior season. Not the way he wanted to go out for sure, with this Show Low Cougar really the favorite going into the state championship brackets this season. They have a huge opportunity to bring home that gold ball. Marky Potter, such a key contributor to that, and this is certainly not the way he wanted to end his senior season.
Well, it's not over, and even though he may not be playing, he's definitely an important part of this team, and I'm sure that Coach Reisdorf and this team will make sure that he's actively involved in everything that goes on. But as you mentioned, hopefully we just gets back to a normal routine. Obviously an injury like this, you hate to see it happen, and the upside is it looks like they're definitely taking their time, wanting to make sure they take good care of him. And for the Show Low Cougars as well, when we talk about just the interruption, I mean, what a drive, 2 plays. I think they were eating up some ground, chunk plays, getting lots of yards on each one, or on that one. And
32 yards on that play previous.
And that's something that it's hard. We'll see what happens. Obviously, their players definitely obviously thinking of nothing other than Marky Potter.
Yeah, we see the Cougar players kneeling in prayer. The entire team gathered now on the near sideline, sending out their wishes to Marky Potter. Great opportunity to talk a little bit about this Cougar team, what they've done throughout the season. Of course, a lot of these players we've heard and listened to throughout the last 3-4 years. These guys are key contributors that have played since their sophomore and freshman seasons, and so it's such a big opportunity for this Cougar team. They feel like they've got the what it takes to go to the distance here. And now we see a second stretcher coming out onto the field, and I'm not sure what the story is on that. We'll see if Ron Everingham can get us some information on why they're bringing a second stretcher. I'm not sure. Maybe that's the stretcher that belongs to the ambulance. I think they're going to give him a direct ride to the hospital. And
but when you were talking about the Cougars, obviously an impressive year overall, 10-2. Within this section, it's 5-0, and they've had a great year. We saw them early on when they started playing some tough teams, came out with 2 losses, and that is kind of a little bit deceiving. I think we saw it even when the rankings, maybe not ranked as high as they should have been, but this team has got, I think everybody's been talking about them from the very beginning. A team that has it on both sides of the ball, very athletic, very physical, really atypical of a team from the White Mountains. This team very impressive, and we'll see what happens with them.
Bill, one of the things that I'm sure is going to come up in the coming week is the fact that this game was moved to an artificial turf. And obviously that is something that people may be talking about. One thing that folks should know about this particular field, this surface, is the newer surface. This is the surface that has a lot more give to it.
Right.
Each individual blade of grass, if you will, or I'm not sure if they call it grass on turf or not, but they are individual pieces that actually give way when a player cuts and things like that. It's closer to a natural surface than in the old days when it was just plain carpet.
Oh, absolutely. This is like a second or third generation field. The first one was very hard, and it was like an outdoor carpet, whereas now, it's amazing when you see these things put together. They got the little rubber that goes that they layer it with on top, so it's got a lot of give to it, but it's almost got like a real turf feel to it, a little bit softer. But these teams also do summer league. They do passing league on it. They get an opportunity to kind of work on it, see how it plays, and then depending upon the season, they've been in here before. But you're right. I think to me probably more interesting is the fact that they're playing Monday, right? The game got postponed, and yet potentially, or actually, one of these teams is going to play again on Friday. We talk about awareness of head hits, trauma to the body, all the things that are going on. These two teams are playing within 5 days again, or Saturday, I'm sorry. So the second day coming back, it's going to be an interesting, to me, that is probably more interesting, the fact that they're allowed to play within such a short time frame.
We can see now that they've got an IV started. They've got fluids there going into Marky Potter as they try to stabilize that limb before they put him onto the stretcher, and they've brought out the board here. And obviously going to be a lot of emotions coming out of, you get geared up for the game. Bill, you mentioned how keyed up both teams juiced for this game to start, and then you get a long delay like this. That certainly has an effect on the emotion on both sides. And of course, you talk about the Blue Ridge sideline. It was a clean play from our vantage point. Looked like it was just unfortunate luck. Potter getting rolled into on that leg, and it's certainly, here's the replay again, it's certainly not something that was in any way meant by a Blue Ridge player. And of course, the Blue Ridge player looks like it's possible that the Blue Ridge player, if he indeed was the one that was involved in that, has got to feel bad about it as well.
Yeah, and maybe even Dallin Crandall. He's the guy that actually stumbled over him, kicked it. But it's a tough call to and that's unfortunate. I couldn't imagine either team, or the Blue Ridge Yellowjackets or any other team. You can't help but think, yeah, they feel bad about it. But honestly, I think you don't even know how it happened. I think even if you're involved in it, unless it's some blatant thing, it might have happened where nobody realized it, other than obviously Marky Potter.
Yeah, it was tough to tell on the replay.
It really is tough to see exactly what happened, but
I think the Cougars now moving down to the far end.
And, Coach Reisdorf, his crew, so they've got a few minutes here, to kind of regroup, get their team ready to come back out. And
they are going to go in the locker room. But as we see now, Marky Potter, they're on the stretcher, and it appears that they are going to get him off to the the hospital as the Show Low Cougar fans stand in appreciation for what this young man has done in this 2013 campaign, along with the Blue Ridge fans across the way, everyone to their feet, giving a round of applause for Marky Potter, who, as we mentioned before, we hope that all is well with him and that this is not something that is going to be anymore, or something that he will be able to at least come back from in a short period of time. But obviously at this stage of the game, it looks like it's fairly serious. We'll see if we get any more word as the game goes along. There's Marky Potter as they wheel him off of the playing surface. As we mentioned, the Cougars went into the locker room, and I think we're ready for play. And Marky Potter with the wave as he heads out onto the far end. Let's go downstairs and check in with Ron Everingham and perhaps get maybe the facial expressions down there, Ron.
Yeah, obviously he looks disappointed, but he did wave to the crowd on his way out. It's also really odd to me that the coaches took the Show Low team all the way into the locker room, but maybe they got word that there was going to be a little more of a warm-up. I don't know, because Blue Ridge is warming up now too. So, yeah, a little lull in the action.
All right, thanks, Ron. We'll see if we can, if you get a chance to talk to the official, we'll see if we can get a start time to restart this game, as the Cougars appear to be making their way back out onto the field. Marky Potter will be loaded into the ambulance there in that, let's see, that would be the south end of the dome. And as they prepare to take him out, and hopefully we get a chance to find out how long the delay will be, as both teams starting to warm up again out on the field. We will step away, back with more of this 2013 state semifinal football game, brought to you by Show Low Ford. Drive one here on iTalk 106.7 and worldwide
I know
on iTalk 106.7.
Football, high school, college, pro, and why not? Yeah, I know everybody's talking about football, high school, college, pro, and why not? It's great. Here at Show Low Ford, we know that winning in football or selling trucks is all about attitude and execution. We're #1 in new Ford truck sales in the White Mountains for a reason. Guy Hatch will not be undersold, period. Save up to $10,000 on built Ford Tough trucks. Finance at 0% for up to 60 months and get cash back. And a lifetime warranty on top of it. Yeah, Ford has been the #1 selling truck for 36 years running, and Show Low Ford has been #1 in the White Mountains. Why? Because we are not just going to meet, but we are going to exceed your expectations. Ford's given us the trucks, Ford's given us the incentives, and we are giving you our promise. We won't be undersold on a new Ford truck. Nope, not here, not anywhere. That way we stay #1. Your friendly family Ford dealer, Show Low Ford, on the east end of the Deuce in Show Low. Thank you. All offers on approved credit. Offers not in conjunction, plus tax, title, license, and processing fees. Savings inclusive of all incentives, rebates, discounts on select models. Not all qualify. 0% varies by model and term. See dealer for details.
Here's your intro.
Welcome back to the Dome here in Round Valley. Let's go back to the studio and check in with Royce Kincannon in this scoring update. Royce.
Yes, thank you, Camden. We got scores from all over. In Division 1, Desert Ridge 3, Mountain Point 0. In Division 2, you've got Chaparral 7, Mesquite 0. In Division 2, you got South Point Catholic 7, Deer Valley 0. In Division 3, you've got Queen Creek 3 and Williamsfield 0. In Division 3, you got Saguaro 7 and Desert Edge 0. In Division 4, we've got River Valley over Seton Catholic 7-0. And in Division 5, you got Round Valley 7, Arizona Lutheran 0. And the Yuma Catholic is over Thatcher 7-6. Back to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Royce. As the Show Low Cougars are back out on the field, we're ready to get underway. No score here. Opening paragraph. Knifing in is Nolan Cook, and he will stop Rove in the backfield for a loss of 1. Call it a loss of 2 back at the 20, call it the 32-yard line.
Basic 3-4 front. Nolan Cook lines up in the gap, shoots the gap, gets through, makes a nice tackle.
2nd and 12, handed off right side, and Rove has nowhere to go. He'll be hit by Walker Lee. Nolan Cook as well on the tackle there at the 31-yard line. And McBride also in on the stop.
Just a lead type play that time. Same as they saw earlier. Blue Ridge does a nice job stuffing it.
3rd down and 11. Looking to throw. Maxwell goes up top. Right side. Open. Fawcett. Touchdown. 32 yards in the air. Fawcett from Kobe Maxwell on the score.
Outstanding job by Fawcett that time. Just goes vertical off the right side. Great throw by Maxwell. Leads him perfectly. Puts it right over his shoulder. Catches it in stride in the end zone. Nice little job by the Show Low Cougars again on that 3rd and long. Doing a job getting in the end zone. Now up 6-0. We'll see what they do with this extra point.
Point after try is coming up next. Here's the kick, and it is up and good by Borrego. And with 10 minutes and 23 seconds left to play here in the first quarter, the Show Low Cougars lead it 7-0. We'll step away. This is Show Low Ford's presentation of high school football on iTalk 106.7 and iTalk 106.7.com.
My friend Alex was diagnosed with cancer, so I put on a concert with tons of other kids so they could help raise money and lift his spirits.
It's a very good feeling to volunteer.
Kids can really make a difference.
Helping other people in my community.
To do something bigger than myself.
Start at a young age and keep promoting the spirit of volunteerism as you go throughout your life.
Young students make a big difference when they volunteer. Encourage them to learn more about the Prudential Spirit of Community Awards. Visit spirit.prudential.com.
Put a foot into it. He pounds this one through the end zone. Takes a hop and goes through the upright. You think he's juiced?
Obviously a little bit of juice going here in the dome as well. Doing an outstanding job putting the ball in the end zone. Yellowjackets, it's coming out on the 20. You know, we talk about Fawcett, again, only a junior. 264 total yards so far in the air receiving. His stock just went up dramatically.
Wide receiver to the left, Spencer Hall under center for the Yellowjackets. Double slots are going to hand it off. Man in motion to Chris Johnson, and Johnson cuts it up in between the tackle and the tight end on the left side. Willie Wyatt on the tackle at the 22 after a gain of 3 yards.
Willie Wyatt lined up on the left end. Again, does an outstanding job coming from the backside. That a lead play, almost like the Cougars. The Yellowjackets only bringing one lineman, but Wyatt catches it from the backside.
In the gun, Spencer Hall, single back in the backfield. His Cook, play action, roll right. And Spencer Hall throw to Penrod in his hands, a little bit behind, but a catchable ball. He drops it. Penalty markers thrown, though, back at the Blue Ridge 16-yard line.
Yeah, not a good spot. Usually it's a holding call back there. We'll see what happens. Tristan Penrod, again, just rolls, just goes towards the Blue Ridge sideline, just on and out. Just shallow, just cutting across. Also, it's illegal motion. Sorry about that, but you know, you saw Spencer Hall rolling right, trying to allow time for Penrod to clear, which he does. Hit him in the hands. Normally, Tristan Penrod, a guy that's going to catch that ball, drops it, maybe caught up in the emotion or the distraction of what's going on right now.
3rd down, and it'll be 7. But with the motion penalty, oh, they take it. They take the motion penalty, and so it'll be 2nd down again. They'll repeat 2nd down. 5-yard penalty will mark the ball back to the Yellowjackets 17, where they'll face a 2nd down and 13. Ball in the gun. Hand to Cook. Cook off tackle left side. Hit. Fights forward across the 20-yard line. And Wyatt and Fawcett will bring him down after contact. He picks up 5 yards on the carry out to the 23-yard line.
You know, a different look that time, spreading a wide slot to the right, just trying to spread the defense. Still running back around the left side, bringing an offside lineman. And again, you know, we saw Nolan Cook last year, all the yards he gets. hard guy to bring down, managed to get a few yards, gets back those yards before he's finally brought down.
Two receivers to the right, Schimmel out wide to the right. Hall looking to throw on 3rd down and 7. And it's picked off. Rovay at the 35, 30. Tries to cut back towards the center of the field. He'll fall down. Cook will knock him down at the 28. And Rovay throws a hand in the face of Nolan Cook as he gets up. And no call by the official, but it's something that the Cougars are going to want to watch here.
Well, obviously, the emotions of the game on both sides running rampant. Again, just a bad throw by Spencer Hall. Looked like the receiver cut underneath. Spencer Hall throws it deep, or the receiver kept going. Spencer Hall threw it underneath. And again, great play by Rovay. Steps inside and intercepts it, and comes down before Cook is brought. But outstanding field position, again, for the Cougars.
At the Cougar 28, 1st and 10, 2 receivers to the right. Maxwell in the gun. 2 tight ends. Man in motion towards the formation. Handed to him. He gets around the left edge. And Walker Lee on the tackle. Brett Van Winkle on the carry around the left side. Has about 4 yards on 1st down. And if the Cougars can move the football like this on 1st down, it's going to be a long night for that Jacket defense.
Well, it really is. And we're seeing this game pick up right where the last game started as well. Show Low Cougars really steamrolling early.
Van Winkle coming in motion. They hand it to Crandall. Crandall going to be hit in the backfield. And Walker Lee, the first man there. Nolan Cook combining on the tackle after a gain of 1 to the Yellow Jacket 24.
2 guys that have really done it all year. Obviously, Walker Lee, a guy you want to try to run away from, although he's very athletic and chase it down. But also Nolan Cook already early getting on to a good start, getting off to a great start, involved in a lot of plays.
Van Winkle in motion towards the formation, hand to him. He turns it up inside, and Walker Lee grabs a hold of a foot. The ball comes loose around the 15-yard line. A penalty marker thrown near the 22-yard line. And the officials gather over the flag at the 20, call it the 21. This one appears to be against the Cougars.
Yeah, they're going to take it, it looks like. But Walker Lee does a good job. It looked like Sholo had some blockers out front. Looked like it might go somewhere. Walker Lee manages to hang on to him, kind of slows him down a bit, allows the defense to recover, but holding call is going to put him back.
And a 10-yard penalty back to the Yellow Jacket 31-yard line. That's the first penalty of the night for the Cougars. And a 3rd and 13 coming up with 2 receivers to the right. It's Quentin Clark and Van Winkle, the wide receivers right side. Tight ends line up, double tight set. Play action, throw back to Van Winkle. Van Winkle tries to get around the edge, and Penrod forces him out of bounds at the 31. No gain on the play.
Great job by Lane Penrod. Again, only a sophomore comes up, makes the stop. We've seen his name called a lot throughout the year. Outside linebacker for the Yellow Jackets. Again, just a little swing route, wheel route for the back in motion. And Penrod does a nice job. Again, pressure on the inside, obviously really pushing.
Double tights, Maxwell in the gun. Crandall flanking him to his right. Man in motion is Means back towards the formation. Ball hit in the air, and it is almost picked off as the Yellow Jackets, Brennan Schimmel came back to try to get to it and couldn't come up with it.
Finally something for the Yellow Jacket fans to yell about. Again, nice. That was an important stop for the Yellow Jacket defense. Again, we mentioned it, Sholo getting off to that quick score, facing a 3rd and long. They still managed to get into the end zone. We'll see if the Yellow Jacket offense now can keep that powerful offense of the Cougars off the field.
We see Coach Reisdorf talking to Colby Maxwell as he comes off the field. Obviously, he's not happy with what happened there. 1st down and 10. Quick throw to Johnson. Johnson tips it, almost tips it up into the air for a Cougar, but he's unable to hang on to it. 2 passes on the money already for Spencer Hall. 2 drops by his receivers.
Yeah, tough night so far. Nobody helping Spencer Hall. Outstanding throw out on the left side. Just Chris Johnson out there just trying to get it to him and see what he can do after the catch, yards after the catch, but couldn't come up with it. Maybe a little bit distracted by the defensive pressure.
Yellowjackets come out with a double tight set. Double slots. Man in motion is Padilla. Back behind the formation. Sets in an offset eye. Handed to Cook. Second man through on the left side. And Cook lowers his shoulder and fights his way across the 31 out to the 34-yard line. Willie Wyatt and Austin Mills are on the stop for the Cougars after a gain of 3.
Austin Mills, again, the big guy on the inside, anchoring the defense, and then also Willie Wyatt chases him down from the backside, and no easy task bringing down Nolan Cook.
Double tights again. Play action, rolling right is Hall on third down, looking to throw. Across the middle, and it's incomplete. Intended for Penrod, but he threw it behind him.
Well, you can really credit the Sholo defense. Outstanding play. Trevor Solomon defending Tristan Penrod. And again, the secondary for the Cougars really smothered the receivers of the Yellowjackets. Rolling right, Spencer Hall tried to give him as much time as possible to clear and just couldn't come up with it.
Fourth down, the Cougars forced to punt here. They send Tristan Penrod back to the 18. Rove for the Cougars will drop back to the 32-yard line. Low snap, Penrod just does get it off. End over ender, it'll be short. Bounces at the 41, takes a jacket roll though, and will be picked up at the 36-yard line by Miles. And the Sholo Cougars will start at their own 36. Tristan Penrod, the best punter in the state of Arizona for Division IV, averaging just under 40 yards per punt, but he's got to get a good snap here.
That time does a nice job playing shortstop, really catches it on the bounce. Pressure by the Cougars on the backside or on the front side. Does a nice job just getting the ball away, but so far it's really gone for the Sholo Cougars. Other than that last stop, it's all been about the Sholo Cougars.
Van Winkle wide to the right. They send Quentin Clark wide to the left. Double tight ends and Maxwell in the gun. Fake the handoff to Rove. Hand it to Crandall coming around the right edge. Leans forward, fights his way to the 40-yard line before he's brought down. And that's actually Rusty Allen on the carry for the Cougars. He picks up 4.
Rusty Allen on the counter. Again, we saw Nolan Cook, really the guy that comes up, tries to chip away on the blockers, and then finally brought down. But a nice gain, 5 yards for the Sholo Cougars.
Snap to Maxwell in the gun. Quick throw on a slant on the left side to Rove. Caught for a Lacey Weeks at Wallach and Volk Mortgage. First down to Quentin Clark at midfield.
Again, pretty easy or nice job by Quentin Clark. Splits far to the left. Nice throw on the slant inside. Well read defensively, I thought, by Miles, but again, the ball just put in a spot where Miles couldn't come up with it.
Jacket 49, ball loose. Crandall goes back for it. The exchange between Maxwell and Crandall wasn't there. The ball goes to the turf, and after the big first down, they lose 3 on this play. It'll bring up second down and 13.
And again, you can feel the electricity in the stands. The fans pretty excited.
Actually, a loss of 4, second and 14 for the Cougars as they go with tied into the right side of the set. Throwing a quick slant again to Clark, and it is hit and picked off. It is caught by Nolan Cook. Interception. Unbelievable.
Well, outstanding defensive play. I didn't see who it was. Maybe we can catch that on the replay. But defensive pressure again. Comes in and knocks him immediately. Looked like Cody McBride, the center fielder, the safety for the Yellowjackets. Again, hits him immediately, knocks the ball loose. Nolan Cook, great awareness, comes up with the ball.
Both of them diving in to try to make that grab. Cook coming up with the interception. And the Jackets with their best field position give the Cook off tackle right side. He has about 8 yards before he's hit by Quentin Clark. Gets into the secondary. Huge gain on first down into Sholo Cougar territory at the 47-yard line.
Bryce Rove, another guy in on the stop, really got hit by the train wreck, which was Nolan Cook. Drops his shoulder, but for the Sholo or Blue Ridge Yellowjackets, probably the best field position so far into Sholo territory. Nice bit of running and blocking by the Cougars, or the Yellowjackets.
From the Cougar 47, and Brennan Schimmel in at quarterback here. Padilla in motion, left to right, and we get a penalty flag and a motion call against the Sholo, or rather the Jackets.
And it's about cadence. That's the first time almost going to a a different style of play with Brennan Schimmel under center and a different cadence, and that's what we saw in that play. Brennan Schimmel's got a different cadence, and it causes a little bit of confusion.
Yellowjackets' second penalty of the night. They've got 10 yards on the night, 2 of them procedure calls. And a 2nd down and 8 now. Schimmel coming wide to the left. Nolan Cook flanking Spencer Hall in the backfield as he works from the gun. Hand it to Cook. Cook battles off of a tackle, now holds up the entire Cougar defense at the 48-yard line. And Wyatt Van Winkle, the first Cougars there. But how about Nolan Cook so far tonight, Bill? He's been running with some passion.
Well, absolutely. And again, it's student body right, bringing a couple blockers out in front, really leading the way. Outstanding. Nolan Cook, one of those guys last year, had an outstanding year. This year, no surprise, people really keying on him. Still does a nice job of freight train. Little over 200 pounds, just a short, compact, stout, strong guy.
At the 48, 3rd down and 4. Man in motion across the formation. Hall, play action, throws near side. Caught by Johnson at the 48. Spins out of a tackle, and he'll be dropped down, but not before he picks up a Mountain Comfort heating and cooling first down at the 43-yard line of the Cougars.
And I tell you what, outstanding effort. We saw him try to go to that earlier. Chris Johnson couldn't make the catch this time. Spencer Hall puts it where it needs to be. Chris Johnson comes up with the catch and just spins to the outside right in front of the Sholo sidelines. Takes a big shot at the end, but still manages to just get beyond the first down marker.
Absolutely an exciting game to this point. 7-0 Cougars, 3:33 left to play, first quarter. Jackets show receivers in a bunch set. Now they split them up. Miles and Schimmel go left and right. Hand to Johnson left side. Johnson fights his way to the 41-yard line where he'll be upended. Austin Daniels, the first man there for the Cougars. A gain of 2 on first down. 2nd and 8 coming up.
Nolan Cook leads the way as his fullback, lead blocker. Chris Johnson makes the cut off of him. Does a nice job just getting a couple yards out of that. But that defense for the Sholo Cougars, very physical on the front, very athletic. And then they too in the 3-4 defense, very athletic. These guys can swarm, can fly around and make plays, do an outstanding job because it looked like with Nolan Cook they had a shot, but the Sholo Cougars stuff him immediately.
Johnson, Schimmel, and Miles show a trip set. Now they force Johnson back in the backfield, and we get a penalty marker thrown here. And now they call a timeout. The Jackets want to avoid a delay of game penalty. Johnson was unaware of where he was supposed to be in the set, it appeared.
Maybe not getting the right alignment, absolutely. And again, wisely. I tell you what, the Sholo or the Blue Ridge offense just kind of hanging in there, keeping this drive alive. The Sholo defense causing all kinds of trouble for them. Very physical play. I think you mentioned it. Both these teams know each other very well, and they've been in this type situation how many times in the last several years. It boils down to these two teams for this region, and again, we're getting our money's worth tonight.
Well, the Cougars know they don't want to get into a slugfest with the Jackets because they're a team that just kind of waits and waits. They're patient. They play 4 quarters regardless of what the score is, and they're a team that can surprise you late in the contest if you're not prepared.
Well, absolutely. And this Sholo Cougar team has got a ton of talent this year that you can bet they are the favorites. We'll see what they can pull off tonight.
Padilla in motion, left to right, 2 receivers to the right. Hall on 2nd down and 8, hand to Johnson. Johnson up the middle, has a lot of room across the 40, but he'll be hit in the secondary as Castillo will pick him up at the 38-yard line and drop him there. But a big gain on 2nd. And it sets up a 3rd and 4.
You know, they lead with the big tight end that time. Comes around the corner in front. That's Adam Padilla for the Yellowjackets. Looks like they have more blockers out in front, but that Sholo defense is Johnson cuts back to the inside. Just stuff it. And again, outstanding play on the guys filling from the back for the Sholo Cougars.
Schimmel, Padilla, and Miles in a trip set on the right side, all bunched up. Now they split up. Schimmel goes wide to the right side of the formation. Handed off straight ahead. And room to run here. Getting tripped up is Johnson. He's close to a Lacey Weeks at Wallach and Volk Mortgage first down at the Cougar 33.
And it looks like they're going to give it to him, moving the chains. But again, you can see Jace Wyatt limping out there a little bit. A guy that's not at full strength, but still a guy that's very physical for the linebacker, very physical on the inside for the Yellowjacket, or for the Cougars. And you know, the Blue Ridge Yellowjackets really attacking right at him right now, maybe because he is a little beat up.
Johnson on the night, 4 carries, 12 yards, and 1 first down. Schimmel wide right, Spencer Hall handed off to Miles. Miles across the 30, and the Yellowjackets picking up 3 and 4 yards per carry now, and really starting to wear down that Cougar defense.
Well, really attacking Willie Wyatt the right side, and again, Willie Wyatt, a guy that's very athletic, but again, just doubling up on him. And then you saw Jace Wyatt that time. He just smashes the tight end, but in the process, they cut back inside and get those extra yards.
Second down and 4 to go at the Cougar 33-yard line. Call it the 32. Spencer Hall in the gun with Cook flanking him to his right. 2 receivers to the right. Hand to Cook. Cook off tackle left side. He's got it across the 25-yard line. Knocked down at the 22. Call it the 23. And Clark and Fawcett combine on the tackle for the Cougars, but what a great block out there to spring him around the left edge.
And it is Walker Lee again from the right guard spot. You can see does a nice job kind of getting out in front. And again, if you've got a guy that's going to run the ball, we're seeing tonight Nolan Cook kind of picking up where he was last year, a guy that, you know, he's a freight train, north-south guys, low sense of low leverage.
Just shy of the 33-yard line, they'll call it. And now we get a timeout called. Oh no, excuse me, into the first quarter, 7-0. The Jackets lead it here. When we come back, the Cougars lead it here. When we come back, the Jackets facing a 3rd and inches. This is Shello Ford's presentation of high school football on iTalk 106.7 and worldwide on iTalk1067.com.
Test 1, 2, check, check.
White Mountain Youth Productions bring you local high school sports, and they need your help. Your tax-deductible sponsorship keeps the high school students producing our local sports. To become a sponsor, call City 4 TV at 928-532-4160.
Welcome back. Live from the Dome in Round Valley, it's the 2013 state semifinals presented by Shello Ford on iTalk 106.7 and worldwide on iTalk1067.com. At the end of 1 quarter of play, it's the Cougars on top 7-0, but the Jackets driving here, facing a 3rd down and inches.
And a little bit different, game than we saw the last time. Again, the Blue Ridge defense making a stop early, which we didn't see the last time these two met. Offensively, both teams kind of moving the ball around. Yellowjackets have not been able to get into the end zone. This is their best field position tonight for the night.
From the Cougar 23-yard line, a 3rd and inches. Spencer Hall in the gun. Takes the snap, fake to Nolan Cook, quick throw to Johnson. He's going to be stuffed in the backfield for a loss on the play. They'll give him forward progress out to the 26-yard line. Trevor Solomon, first man to him against the Cougars, and Johnson slow to get up.
Johnson hobbling a little bit here, kind of bent over. Looks like he's going to take a knee, shaking up on it. But an outstanding play by Trevor Solomon. Again, really jumping on that early and crushing Chris Johnson, stopping him for a loss.
And so the Yellowjackets, we know, have enough leg. Cody McBride's leg is good from this distance. We'll see if the Jackets decide on 4th down to go for it. And if Chris Johnson does have to come out of this contest, this will be a huge loss for the Yellowjackets. Their leading rusher on the season. And, of course, any team that plays the Jackets has got to make sure that they defend against him. And so far tonight, hasn't had a lot of carries on the night. They've been going more towards Nolan Cook, as you mentioned, who was their big standout last year. And 4 carries to Johnson so far tonight for 12 yards. He's up and going to hobble off. It looks like he's favoring that right ankle as he comes off, but he's going to come off on his own power, and I think that's good news for the Yellow Jacket fans. The Jackets trailing here 7-0, and he's got two catches on the night as well. And with 11:35 opening paragraph of the second, the Cougars now, or the Jackets rather, now facing a 4th down and 2, or call it a 4th and 3 from the Sholo 26-yard line here. Looks like they're going to go for it. Spencer Hall going to go out in shotgun formation. Cook behind him, single receiver to the left side. Hand it to Cook. Cook off tackle right side. He's tripped up in the backfield by Bryce Robey. He'll be knocked down at the 25-yard line after a gain of 1. They'll be shy of the first down, and they'll turn it over on downs to the Cougars.
What a stop by the Sholo Cougar defense. Bryce Robey flies in, really big part of that, stops, and that's no easy task. Nolan Cook, a guy that you would think could get a couple of yards. We saw him tonight. That was the first time he's really been dropped with no success, but outstanding play by that left side of the Sholo Cougar defense.
Of course, the Jackets, one of their best defenses to keep this Cougar offense off the field. Fortunately for them, at least this trip, they'll have to go with a longer field. Hand it to Crandall. He's tripped up, and Cook meets him at the 22-yard line. A gain of 1 on the play out to the the 27, I should say.
You know, really seeing Nolan Cook have an outstanding night defensively and offensively, doing a good job here early on.
Jackets show a 5-man front here. They hand to Crandall straight up the middle. And Crandall going to get out across the 30-yard line. They'll mark him just shy of the 31. Michael Kane on the stop for the Yellow Jackets.
And Walker Lee as well, you know, the big guy on the front. We talk about him, a guy you want to try to get away from, but Dallin Crandall, not an easy guy to bring down. Yellow Jackets still managed to stop him shy.
3rd and 4 from the 31. Looking to throw, Maxwell dumps it off to Rovey. Flag on the field. He gets his way, has a first down across the 40-yard line at the 41 where he steps out of bounds, but a penalty marker thrown back at the 30. And an illegal shift is the preliminary indication here.
Well, Bryce Rovey just a little swing around the left side and really does a lot of that after the catch. You saw pressure from Tristan Penrod, the linebacker from that side, kind of a delayed blitz, comes in from that side, and once he did that, Rovey was wide open, no pressure, gets those yards. It's an unfortunate penalty. Great call and execution by the Sholo Cougars.
Second penalty of the night against the Cougars. They've now been penalized for 15 yards. As the Cougars will be marked back to the 26-yard line. A big break here for the Jackets as that wipes off a Mountain Comfort Heating and Cooling first down. 2 receivers to the right, 1 to the left. Maxwell looking to throw. Has a man, it's Rovey. Caught at the 26-yard line. He turns it upfield. Schimmel going to tackle him. Very close to the first down marker at the 35-yard line. He'll be about a half a yard shy.
And this is an area where Coach Reisdorf, fearless, we've seen historically a guy that is going to go for it, even though it's at their own 35, has a lot of faith in his offense, especially that front, and we'll see what they come with.
Well, we have scoring updates for you to get to here in a moment. Try to get those to you just as soon as possible. We get timeout on the field by the Cougars. Let's go back to the studio and check in with Royce Kincannon in this scoring update. Royce?
That's right. We've got scoring updates from around the leagues tonight. Right off the bat, we're going to tell you that River Valley is beating Seton Catholic by a score of 30-0. Round Valley 14, Arizona Lutheran 14, Yuma Catholic 14, Thatcher 6, Desert Ridge 6, Mountain Point 7, Chaparral's leading Mesquite 14-7. South Point Catholic is giving it to Deer Valley 28-0. Queen Creek is beating Williamsfield 17-14. Saguaro is beating Desert Edge 28-7. It is still a 7-7 tie in Hamilton and Chandler. And we're back to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Royce. Oh, that's a surprise, I think, on a lot of people's thoughts, that River Valley Seton Catholic game.
Oh, absolutely. And again, another great game going on here. Also, Round Valley Elks getting after it.
4th down and 1. And the Cougars going to put in a new quarterback? It looks like Farr, and he's going to kick this one. Nobody back for the Jackets. And a good bounce at the 30. Huge Sholo bounce. Will bounce inside the 20, and they'll let it roll down to the 10-yard line. Wow. What a huge punt there for the Sholo Cougars. And, you know, Ron mentioned before that punt, Bill, that the Cougars were saying, hey, we're going to go for a hard count. And, of course, not exactly what they went for. Farr getting off a big punt here.
Well, Farr, we've seen him as the backup quarterback, does an outstanding job every time he's out there. So a guy you have to respect as far as his quarterbacking abilities. But this chess game that's going on, Reisdorf makes a great call. Yellowjackets back on their own 10.
From the 10-yard line. Here's the snap handed to Cook. Cook bangs his way across the 10-yard line, down at the 12. And a nice little pickup on 1st down of, oh, they're going to give him 2. Let's go downstairs and check in with Ron Everingham. Ron?
Just down here hanging out on the Sholo sidelines. It's interesting how much input that I think it's Rathan Reisdorf has with his dad. Listening to a lot of different things, him talking to his dad, some different input. I just asked Colby Maxwell what it's like out there. Is it rougher than you thought? He said it's a rivalry game. What do you expect?
All right, thanks, Ron. And what do you expect? Spencer Hall rolling to the left. Catch made by Padilla. Has a 1st down. Knocked out of bounds at the 21-yard line. Quentin Clark on the tackle. A gain of 9 and a Mountain Comfort heating and cooling 1st down for the Jackets.
And they really released Schimmel to the inside, going vertical, kind of spreading that defense. He was waving, calling for it, but Spencer Hall rolling left, throwing against his body, does a nice job. The right-handed quarterback rolling left, throws it underneath to Adam Padilla, the big tight end, who gets the 1st down and is keeping this drive going.
7-0. Cougars lead it with 8:49 left to play in the 1st half. Padilla in motion, sets himself behind Spencer Hall, hand it to Cook. Cook fights his way across the 25-yard line. Jace Wyatt and Austin Daniels combined on the tackle for the Cougars, but not before a gain of about 3 yards here, and sets up a 2nd down and 5.
And again, you talk about Jace Wyatt, just looking at him, you know, you can see his leg wrapped up a little bit. He hasn't played for a while. I don't know how much practice he's been in, but picking up right where he left off. Very physical linebacker on the inside, a guy that's a good, solid tackler. And again, Yellowjackets are getting 5 yards on that 1st down.
8 carries, 31 yards for Nolan Cook tonight. Spencer Hall on 2nd down. Throws, caught by Padilla at the 34-yard line. Brother Cook is on the reception, and he's being knocked down at the 44-yard line. Schimmel with the block to spring him out across the 40-yard line. A great play for the Jackets. Ends up with a Lacey Weeks at Wallach and Volk Mortgage. 1st down at the 44.
Just a roll out to the right side, which allows Nolan Cook, just comes into the inside, cuts outside, finds a seam, and gets open. Nice job, nice pitch, nice catch. And then a great block by Schimmel really helped him get those extra yards.
Spencer Hall, 4 of 7 for 34 yards tonight. Handed to Cook, drops the ball. Looks like he may have fallen on it at the 45-yard line. Jace Wyatt in on the stop for the Cougars. May have knocked that one loose at the 45, a gain of a half a yard. 2nd and 9 coming up.
Yeah, the Sholo Cougars probably wishing they had another shot at that one. Nolan Cook, again, didn't look like to me he ever got it on the exchange, but managed to fall down on it.
7:13, clock rolling here in the 2nd, 7-0 in favor of the Cougars. Under center, Spencer Hall, I-tandem in the backfield behind him, rolls to his right, pump fakes, now delivers to Miles on the near sideline, and a short little pass here. He'll be, he steps out of bounds at the 46-yard line. Pickup of, call it the 47. a gain of 2 yards on second down. It brings up 3rd down and 8.
And that's really a win for the Show Low Cougars secondary. Outstanding coverage. Roll right, had lots of time. Spencer Hall throws it underneath to Nate Miles, who manages to get just a couple yards right on the sideline. So defensively, that's a win, even though the catch was made.
In the gun, Spencer Hall, 3rd down and 7. Looking to throw. Far sideline, looking for Schimmel. Schimmel is step for step covered by Fawcett down that far sideline. Absolutely nowhere for Spencer Hall to put that ball, but overthrowing it wisely. Incomplete.
And Fawcett does an outstanding job. You know, it's all about when you should turn. Fawcett turns early, and he's running in front. He actually had better position to throw early. Fawcett had better position, does an outstanding job defensively.
And set to punt this one away is Tristan Penrod, the Division IV punt leader in the state of Arizona. Stands at his 32-yard line. Back to receive is Rove, hits a line driver, bounces it away from Bryce Rove, takes a jacket roll and will bounce inside the 20. Schimmel's going to pick it up at the 19. Let's check in with Ron Everingham. Ron?
Yeah, just over here on the Blue Ridge sideline, and the Blue Ridge medical staff come up and told Coach Morrow that number 24, Chris Johnson, is cleared to be back out there. So here he is coming out on defense.
All right, thanks, Ron.
And that's a guy Blue Ridge really wants on the field. Chris Johnson, one of those speed guys that defensively does a nice job on the corner, and then offensively, obviously, makes the second part of that tandem between Nolan Cook. 2 different type of runners that really complement each other's style.
6 minutes, 42 seconds left to play, 7-0 in favor of the Cougars. They now have the football at their 19-yard line. Maxwell in the gun, handed off to Crandall. Chris Johnson going to stack him up at the line of scrimmage, helped out there by Cody McBride and Walker Lee as they stuff him at the 19, and actually a loss on the play of 1 back to the 18.5-yard line.
Well, that's a guy that, again, when you want to test a body, that'll be it, trying to bring down Dallin Crandall, probably one of the most physical running backs in the state.
Quick throw to Quentin Clark, caught at the 18. He tries to get to the 20. Will be upended there. Along with Schimmel was Nate Miles. And for good measure, I think Cody McBride also on that far side comes in late, but a great play defensively after a gain of, they'll call it a gain of 2 yards. And a 3rd down, make it 3 yards, a 3rd down and 8 coming up. Maxwell looking to throw. Has his man, caught on a quick slant, 1st down across the 30-yard line. Van Winkle, Schimmel on the tackle at the 33-yard line. Good for a Lacey Weeks at Wallach & Volk Mortgage 1st down.
What an outstanding throw, though, by Maxwell for Van Winkle as well, as the 2 paired up. Van Winkle comes up, makes a tough catch, gets the 1st down, wisely runs that route.
Maxwell hands it off to Crandall. Crandall looking for room straight up the middle. And not much there. Actually, it was Rove on the carry. And Penrod and Tussing combine on the tackle for the Yellowjackets. A gain of 1 on the play, 2nd and 9.
Now you're really seeing the Yellowjacket defense.
Crandall, big hole. Almost caught from behind by Walker Lee coming from the right side. More on that in a moment, but a big Mountain Comfort Heating and Cooling 1st down for the Cougars out to the Sholo 47-yard line.
Well, I was going to say defensively, the Yellowjackets doing a better job against the run. That time Crandall off the right side gets those yards, gets that 1st down on an outstanding run. And good and great blocking as well by that Sholo Cougar offense.
We saw Walker Lee coming from the right side that time, Bill, chasing him up the hole. That's how quick Walker Lee is. He almost grabbed him from behind, but as we well know, Crandall's not going to go down with any type of an arm tackle.
He's a very physical north-south guy, very explosive, and again, very impressive the way Rove, another one of those speed guys that's hard to find, and yet Crandall, a guy that every run looks like it's going to be his last. He just fights for every yard, does an outstanding job.
Timeout on the field. The Cougars talking things over here with 5:07 left to play in the 2nd quarter. 7-0. in favor of the Show Low Cougars. They've got the football and have launched a bit of a drive here. They are out to the Cougar 47. We talked about Dallin Crandall prior to that carry was 5 carries for 31 yards, or actually 34 yards. One of those was a 31-yard carry. Now he's 6 for 51 after that big first down. First down and 10. Maxwell in the gun, 2 receivers to the right. Handed off to Crandall again. This time hit at the line of scrimmage and will be dumped backwards, but he picks up a couple of yards after Walker Lee and Penrod combine on the tackle for the Jackets at the 49.
And you can just see the way these guys are going at it. It looks like almost now Walker Lee looking a little tired, Brennan Schimmel a little bit tired. Again, the pace of this game will add up as the game goes on.
Ball's loose. Jackets look like they have it. Walker Lee down at the bottom of the pile. He comes up with it. The Blue Ridge Yellowjackets have got a turnover in Cougar territory at the 48.
And as much as it has gone right at times for the Yellowjackets, another turnover, but still the Show Low Cougars 7-0. Again, we've seen this defense keep the Cougars, or the Yellowjackets, out of the end zone. Another test for the Cougars, and again, the Yellowjackets have got to figure out a way to get into the end zone.
And a timeout called here by the Cougars again. We'll keep it here with 4 minutes and 41 seconds. You almost don't want to break away, Bill, for fear that we'll miss some of the action.
Well, I tell you what, in this dome especially, you know, most of the fans on one side, but the volume in this room, it's rocking in here. And when you talk about semifinal, you couldn't ask for a better game. Glad to see the AIA brought it back up to this region, allowing more of our local fans to enjoy this night.
7-0. The Cougars lead it with 4:41 left to play here in the second. And the Yellowjackets with the football at the 47, call it the 48-yard line of the Cougars. Spencer Hall under center. Take the snap, hand it to Johnson. Johnson spins out of a tackle at the 40-yard line. Stiff arms another, and he'll get down inside the 40. Will be knocked down by Solomon at the 37-yard line. Good for a Lacey Weeks at Vulcan Bulk Mortgage. First down. How about Chris Johnson on those moves?
Actually, Chris Johnson really showing that he is back to normal. One of those guys that spins, makes people miss, and fought out of a couple leg tackles. Also, Ted Sipe, number 20 for the Yellowjackets, nice block downfield, helping Chris Johnson get those extra yards.
Johnson goes wide to the right side of the formation, along with Ted Sipe for the Yellowjackets. Handed to Cook. Cook bounces it outside and gets a huge run on first down across the 30, inside the 30-yard line, knocked down at the 28. It'll be very close to a Mountain Comfort Heating and Cooling first down. Daniels on the stop for the Cougars.
Nolan Cook, normally a guy we see just stay inside, that time bounces out a little bit. Austin Daniels does a nice job bringing him down just shy of the first down, though, after a nice gain. Still looking at a second and short.
Second down and 1 from the Cougar 29-yard line. Schimmel wide to the right. Miles in tight in the slot on the right side. Play action. Hall to throw. Down the middle, wide open, and it is picked off by Romano. Incomplete at the goal line. Schimmel was wide open, got behind the defense, but Hall a little underthrows him. He had to come back for the football. We'll see it on the replay here, Bill.
Absolutely. Brennan Schimmel does a great job cutting back inside, was wide open. That throw, as you mentioned, underthrown really around the defense to recover. They do a nice job going up, fighting for it. Ball, Yellowjackets actually lucked out. It looked like Sholo was going to come away with it.
Good time to go for 6. Now facing a 3rd down and 1. Hand it to Cook. Cook bounces it to the outside and cuts it upfield. Has close to first down yardage at the 27 of the Cougars, and it'll be good for a Mountain Comfort Heating and Cooling first down. Dallin Crandall on the stop for the Cougars.
Again, Cook does a nice job, bounces outside, but he's still more effective as a north-south guy that just runs, drops his shoulder, low pad level, a hard guy to bring down. Obviously, he was smart in that he got the first down. We'll see how the Yellowjackets recover now. See, they still got to get into the end zone. In the air, they've had success in the last several games. They've just got to come up with these big catches.
3 minutes left to play in the half. 7-0 Cougars. First down for the Jackets at the Sholo Cougar 27. Hall to throw. Across the middle. Caught at the 25. It is caught by Miles. Good for a couple to the 25-yard line. And they'll give him forward progress to the 24.
I tell you, more yards than I expected. He gets 3 yards out of it, but it had train wreck written all over. Very solid play defensively by the Cougars, doing an outstanding job, not only in pressuring Spencer Hall, but also covering underneath 3 defenders around Cook as he made, or as around Miles as he makes the catch. But that was a tough throw, a tough catch. Defensively, the Cougars really doing an outstanding job.
Spencer Hall, 6 for 11 and 40 yards on the night so far. They send Schimmel wide to the right. Miles sets as a slot on the right side. Hand it to Johnson. Second man through on the right side. Johnson is hit from behind and knocked forward to the 20-yard line. Hit by Crandall that time. Nice little hole on that right side. A gain of 4 on second down, and it'll bring up 3rd down and 3.
And you can see Walker Lee, big physical guy out in front, leading the way. Chris Johnson makes his cut, but again, Crandall, not a guy you're going to get away from. Does a nice job catching from the backside, makes a nice hard hit and brings him down.
Johnson tonight, 6 carries, 27 yards. A 4.5-yard average for him tonight. A minute and a half remaining here in the half. 7-0. Jackets facing a 3rd down and 3 from the Cougar 20-yard line. Keeper on the right side. Hall stiff arm, steps outside. He'll be knocked down at the 10-yard line. He picks up a Mountain Comfort Heating and Cooling first down, but a penalty marker thrown back at the point of attack at the 21-yard line. This one could be coming back.
Spencer Hall really does it on his own. You can see defensively a shift. They spread Schimmel wide to the left. It's all going to come back, chop blocked by the Yellowjackets. But they split Schimmel far to the left. The defensive secondary shifts, and then they come back with the option or the veer off to the right.
And Coach London's going to come out on the field and ask for an explanation.
Take a break, real quick.
And, you take a look at what happened. We'll see if we can get a replay up for you on this, but explain a little bit, Bill, on the penalty there.
Well, on the penalty, obviously a chop block, really trying to protect the athlete. You can't go underneath. This time the Yellowjackets get called for it. Couldn't have come at a less opportune time. Again, really making this drive. We saw what was going to be a great play for the Yellowjackets, now back facing a 3rd
and 24, all the way back to the Cougar 31-yard line, and another penalty marker thrown here as they blow this play dead, and a procedure call against the Yellowjackets. We talked about keys to the game. One of those keys was both teams, whichever team wins tonight, has got to play flawless. And so far on this drive, particularly, the Jackets really self-destructing.
Well, it's really taking advantage of opportunities, right? And right now, the Yellowjackets have had some great opportunities, just unable to capitalize. Sholo Cougars now defensively really have an opportunity to come away with great field position.
Wyatt coming back out on the defense for the Cougars, and another penalty as Penrod will jump off sides, and a procedure call, another 5 yards, and this is not Yellowjacket football. It'll be the 5th penalty of the night, 35 yards here in this first half. They trail 7-0 with a minute 19 left to play in the half, and now we'll be facing a 3rd down and a zip code.
Adding insult to the injury, you definitely hear the fans. Now you're back in the Sholo Cougars part of the field. The fans really adding to it, causing some of the problems, the disruption.
Well said.
Look for a screen.
From the Cougar 47-yard line, Spencer Hall to throw, deep ball, and it is caught. No, incomplete by Schimmel, in and out of his hands. It looked like Solomon or Rove maybe even Quentin Clark got a bit of a hand on that one to knock it down. What a throw by Spencer Hall as he hits him in the numbers, but I think a Cougar may have just deflected that at the last moment.
I think definitely a distraction where it's hard to really zone in on it. We've seen Brendan Schimmel make circus catch after circus catch. This time the Sholo Cougar defenders look like they got to get beat. Great throw by Spencer Hall, and yet the Cougars managed to get the ball back.
On 4th down, Penrod to punt from his 40-yard line. Gets this one way up in the air, and it's angled out of bounds away from Rovay. I think the special teams play tonight is keep it out of Rovay's hands. It goes out at the Cougar 25-yard line with 1:06. Plenty of time for the Cougars here to go down the field. They're up 7-0 and would love to put on an insurance.
I think if you had 1 second on the clock, there's plenty of time. All they need is one play. That's how explosive this team is. And you just saw on that kick, we talked about the punter, Tristan Penrod, leading the state maybe, but I think the pressure of this Cougar team as well as the pressure of this game, Tristan Penrod kind of bobbled it and is kicking it quickly, and you're seeing him come away with a punt that maybe he could have relaxed a little bit, got more yards out of it.
And it looks like Quentin Clark, Van Winkle come wide to the left. 1:06 left to play from the Cougar 25-yard line. 1st down and 10 for the Cougars. And a snap while Maxwell wasn't looking. Ball's loose. Looks like the Cougars maybe have fallen on it at the 24-yard line. Maxwell wasn't ready for the snap. And the crowd, I'll tell you what, the crowd I think has played a factor in this one, Bill. There hasn't been this much noise in this stadium for a while, I don't think.
Well, I tell you what, definitely rocking tonight. And you mentioned it, Maxwell not ready for the snap. The ball comes back. Fortunately for the Cougars, I don't know who the player was, awareness comes up with the fumble. But again, a 2nd and long with just under 30 seconds.
26 seconds. They elect to not stop the clock here. They hand it to Crandall. Johnson going to make the tackle as he tries to get around the left side. He gets back to the 25-yard line. Call it the 26-yard line. A gain of 3 on the play. 3rd down and 9 coming up.
Looks like they're going to let the clock run out for the half. Again, 6 seconds and clock ticking. But an outstanding first half. Yellowjackets down by 7, having opportunities, but that Sholo defense keeping them out of the end zone.
Are you surprised that the Cougars elect not to go for it here and try to put up another 7?
I don't think so. I think when you look at what this game means, I think Coach Reisdorf, obviously, we've seen him be very aggressive during the regular season, but in the playoffs makes a good decision, I think, which was, hey, let's regroup, reorganize. Defensively, you know, they have that bad, or the offensively they have that bad snap. They recovered the ball. Blue Ridge easily, had they come up with that, had great field position to try to get into the end zone.
We've really seen the Jackets with 2 big opportunities down in Cougar territory, unable to come up with points in this first half. Obviously, something that they're going to want to talk about at halftime.
You know, it really is a combination. It's a combination of the solid play by the Sholo defense and also the penalties and the letdowns, the mental breakdowns of the Blue Ridge offense. They can't afford to shoot themselves in the foot. They've got to get it all going to get in this end zone because these Sholo Cougars are very tough, very athletic, a very physical team that you got to have your A game if you're going to get in the end zone.
Absolutely. We'll step away, back with our Sunrise Park Resort halftime show when we return. Sunrise Park open for business. Check it out at sunriseskipark.com. They are skiing at Sunrise. Earliest open in a long time, Bill, for Sunrise.
You know what? You nailed it right there. Open to the top on Sunday. Outstanding snow. Weather that we haven't seen for a while comes in, and people had a great time. Be sure to check it out.
Great snow up there. 19 inches, we understand, at the top of Sunrise, and it's going to be some good skiing this year for sure.
Actually, it's great fun and obviously an opportunity to break out all that warm weather clothing out of your closet. And you can get on the website, check it out. It's going to reopen right after, or cold weather clothing, absolutely. Right after Thanksgiving, they'll be open Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Check it out on the web.
I should say 19 inches of fresh snow.
Absolutely. You know what? And people enjoy it. It's just a lot of fun, especially in this part of the state. Great skiing. It compares with anywhere.
A Sunrise Park Resort halftime show is coming up next. We invite you to stay tuned. We'll take a look inside the numbers at the half. Also, we'll get a recap of this first half as the Cougars lead it 7-0 on Sholo Ford's presentation of the 2013 state semifinals on iTalk 106.7 and worldwide on iTalk1067.com.
My friend Alex was diagnosed with cancer, so I put on a concert with tons of other kids so they could help raise money and lift his spirits.
It's a very good feeling to volunteer.
Kids can really make a difference.
Helping other people in my community.
To do something bigger than myself.
Rewarding.
Every story touches home. Even if it's not your own cause, it becomes yours when you help people.
I organized a food drive so they could have a warm meal every day.
The people next door to us might have big struggles.
Change someone's life and make someone's day.
When I help out, I get this warm feeling in my heart.
If you have a giving heart, you need to give as much as possible.
Step out and help someone else and just help make the world a better place.
Seeing garbage in road ditches and in city parks motivated me to clean up trash.
If it's the right thing to do, then go ahead and do it.
You should always volunteer, whether it's big or small.
Start at a young age and keep promoting the spirit of volunteerism as you go throughout your life.
Young students make a big difference when they volunteer. Encourage them to learn more about the Prudential Spirit of Community Awards. Visit spirit.prudential.com.
Yeah, I know everybody's talking about football, high school, college, pro, and why not? It's great. Here at Show Ford, we know that winning in football or selling trucks is all about attitude and execution. We're #1 in new Ford truck sales in the White Mountains for a reason. Guy Hatch will not be undersold, period. Save up to $10,000 on built Ford Tough trucks. Finance at 0% for up to 60 months.
Cougar marching band, directors Marshall Pratt, they're going to be performing I'll Make a Man Out of You from Disney.
Dome and Round Valley, Camden Smith, Mike Side with Bill London. Welcome to our Sunrise Park Resort halftime show. At intermission, it's the Cougars up 7-0. And Bill, this was a big first half for both of these teams. This is any surprises in how this went for both of these teams?
Well, obviously we're surprised, I think, by the fact that the first time these two met, Sholo, obviously, we saw the tempo, both teams scoring early, but then after that, Sholo kept scoring. Blue Ridge couldn't stay with them. So far tonight, Sholo's had one score, but that's basically been the only score for the whole first half. An outstanding job defensively by both teams. And again, turnovers, maybe some mental letdowns on both sides. Sholo's had a few fumbles that they managed to recover, turnovers, but it's been a great game.
I think, as you mentioned, Bill, both teams driving early. And, of course, the Cougars getting the only score of the first half happened with 10 minutes and 23 seconds left to play in the first half. Maxwell to Fawcett on a 31-yard touchdown pass. This was 3 plays into the game. They came out, actually maybe 4 plays into the game. They came out, they started to move the ball. They had a handoff to Fawcett, then the big gainer on to Crandall, where we saw Marky Potter go down with an injured leg. He was carted off, and there was a good 20-minute delay here at the Dome as they took him off the field. And then a couple plays after that, the Sholo Cougars able to put 6 on the board with a good PAT. It's 7-0 with a 10:23 mark of that first quarter. And you talk about that momentum shift. There was really, it looked like the Cougars were going to manhandle this Jacket team, but then we saw a bit of a different team defensively by the Jackets in that second 2 or 3 drives there in that first half.
More frantic play maybe by the Yellowjackets. Again, the Sholo Cougars, we've seen them, no surprise how physical, how athletic. I think maybe a little bit surprised by the Blue Ridge Yellowjacket play. It just seems like every play they're just fighting to stop the Sholo Cougars offensively, because we know how powerful these guys are, athletic they are. And then defensively for the Yellowjackets, we saw an exception, just that one pass into the end zone. Defensively doing a nice job. And, we have not seen teams that could stop Crandall, stop Rove, as well as their passing attack. And other than that early score, the ball's been moving around the field. We've seen some outstanding play, but both teams managing to keep each other out of the end zone.
Tonight's contest, Bill, is brought to you in part by Melissa Covington at American Family Insurance Company. For all of your protection under one roof, see Melissa Covington. She can help with any of your auto, home, life, business insurance needs. Go see her at 4451 South White Mountain Road in Sholo. Special thanks to Melissa Covington with American Family Insurance, proud sponsor of local high school football in this 2013 state semifinal game against the Sholo Cougars and the Blue Ridge Yellowjackets. How fortunate or unfortunate is for these two teams to meet up in the semifinals?
Well, obviously this would be a great championship for any class. These two teams really get after it, and the physicalness of the way they play, I don't know how you could match it or compare it, but I can't imagine two other teams that get after each other the way these two teams. They have a lot of mutual respect, but they definitely put it out there on the field playing their best. It's been an outstanding first half. They've done a great job.
Well, as we see the Sholo Cougar march marching band. We will step away. This is the Sunrise Park Resort halftime show brought to you by Sunrise Park Resort. Great time to go skiing. You can get up there to Sunrise, and if you go to sunriseskipark.com, you can actually look at the webcam and see the conditions for yourself.
Absolutely, and there's some great things going on. Be sure to check it out, and also going to be open Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We'll see what the weather does. I know making snow nightly. Looking forward, wishing everybody a happy Thanksgiving, but looking forward to seeing everybody on the slopes come Friday.
Punt Cooley with a look inside the numbers that tell the true story here at intermission, with the Cougars leading 7-0. We'll step away. This is the Sunrise Park Resort halftime show on iTalk 106.7 and worldwide on iTalk1067.com.
Test 1, 2, check, check.
White Mountain Youth Productions bring you local high school sports, and they need your help. Your tax-deductible sponsorship keeps the high school students producing our local sports. To become a sponsor, call City 4 TV at 928-532-4160.
Yeah, I know everybody's talking about football, high school, college, pro, and why not? It's great. Here at Sholo Ford, we know that winning in football or selling trucks is all about attitude and execution. We're #1 in new Ford truck sales in the White Mountains for a reason. Guy Hatch will not be undersold, period. Save up to $10,000 on built Ford Tough trucks. Finance at 0% for up to 60 months and get cash back. And a lifetime warranty on top of it. Yeah, Ford has been the #1 selling truck for 36 years running, and Sholo Ford has been #1 in the White Mountains. Why? Because we are not just going to meet, but we are going to exceed your expectations. Ford's given us the trucks, Ford's given us the incentives, and we are giving you our promise. We won't be undersold on a new Ford truck. Nope, not here, not anywhere. That way we stay #1. Your friendly family Ford dealer, Sholo Ford, on the east end of the Deuce in Sholo. Thank you. All offers on approved credit. Offers not in conjunction, plus tax, title, license, and processing fees. Savings inclusive of all incentives, rebates, discounts on select models. Not all qualify. 0% varies by model and term. See dealer for details.
Test 1, 2, check, check.
White Mountain Youth Productions bring you local high school sports, and they need your help. Your tax-deductible sponsorship keeps the high school students producing our local sports. To become a sponsor, call City 4 TV at 928-532-4160.
Do we have it? All right, we got to get tested. We just got to get him on the field. All right, here again. He's got to throw the ball as far as he can throw it. And punt it. Get him tested.
Welcome back to the Dome in Round Valley, home of the 2013 state semifinal game presented by Sholo Ford. Drive One on iTalk 106.7 and worldwide on iTalk1067.com. A big game here tonight as the Sholo Cougars have the lead at intermission, 7-0. We'll check in with Punt Cooley in just a moment with a look inside the numbers. But first, let's go back to the studio and check in with Royce Kincannon and this scoring update. Royce?
Thanks, Camden. We've got some scores from around the league. In Division 1, it's still 7-7, Hamilton and Chandler. That's going to be the tough game tonight. We also got Desert Ridge 9 and Mountain Point 7. In Division 2, you've got Chaparral 28 and Mesquite 7. And in Division 2, South Point Catholic 35, Deer Valley 0. In Division 3 football, you have Queen Creek 17, Williamsfield 14. In Division 3, Saguaro 42, Desert Edge 20. In Division 4 football, we have River Valley 30. Seton Catholic is finally on the scoreboard with 6. And, of course, in Division 4, you've got the Sholo Cougars 7, Blue Ridge 0. In Division 5 football, we have Round Valley Elks 14, Arizona Lutheran 14. And Yuma Catholic all over Thatcher by a score of 45-6. Back to you.
All right, thanks a lot, Royce. And as we go to punt, Cooley punt, man, that Round Valley score, of course, is one of those that we're going to be closely watching because if Round Valley wins tonight, they advance to that championship game that'll be played at North Canyon High School. It'll be the day game at 2 o'clock. And, of course, we've got either Blue Ridge or Sholo that'll be playing in that night game at 6:30. So we're hoping for a doubleheader next week.
Absolutely. Make for a great weekend for these White Mountain folks that elect to go down and watch some football.
Let's take a look inside the numbers, Punt, to tell the true story here at intermission. The Cougars lead it 7-0.
Okay, Cam, thanks. You know, Bill had hinted how this game is so much different than the regular season game we saw between these two clubs. We'll start with the visiting number 4 seed Blue Ridge Yellowjackets. They're able to generate a total offense in the first half of 115 yards, 18 rushing plays, 12 pass plays. On those 18 rushing rushes, they get 75 yards for just over a 4-yard average. And then Spencer Hall in the first half goes 6 for 12, 50% completion percentage for 40 yards. But Blue Ridge, in getting those 115 yards, dominate time of possession, just over 14 minutes of possession time in that first half compared to Sholo's 9. The big stinger, of course, for Blue Ridge, when you look at stats in that first half, I think the highlight there is the 5 penalties for a total of 35 yards. Blue Ridge ends up getting 6 first downs compared to Sholo's 1. And, of course, just the 1 turnover with the interception from Spencer Hall early. Sholo, a total of 124 yards. Total offense, 61 on the ground on 16 carries, 63 in the air with Maxwell going 6 for 7 to get those 63. So really 61 and 63, a very well-balanced offensive attack for Sholo. And again, they get the 4 first downs. They only had 2 penalties with a total of 15 yards. Leading rushers for Sholo, the big one, of course, Dallin Crandall, 8 carries, 55 yards. And that's real. I mean, they had a couple of guys with 4 yards each. But beyond that, that's the bulk of their rushing. We go over back to the Blue Ridge side. And Nolan Cook, the leading rusher for Blue Ridge in that first half, 11 carries, 42 yards. And then Chris Johnson, 6 carries for 27 yards. So, again, 115 yards for Blue Ridge. First half, total offense, 124. Blue Ridge passing a little bit more than they normally do, 12 attempts. Sholo with 7 attempts, but pretty well-balanced game as the score would reflect.
All right, thanks, Punt. And Bill, as we look at these two teams and Punt, really, you mentioned that these two teams very evenly matched coming into tonight's contest, despite the fact that the last time these two teams met up, the Cougars really had a dominating win, and it's really come out to play. This is a different Blue Ridge team, I think, than we saw, especially at the beginning of the season. They have seemed to progress week in and week out and become better and better as the season's gone along.
Well, absolutely. Definitely not the same team we saw the first time these two met, but maybe a little bit of pride on the line as well. Not only the state championship, but never really in it the first time or earlier in the season. This tonight, much more physicalness. Not playing quite. It seemed like they were playing afraid almost the first time they met. Very physical play, and guys that are stepping up, making some solid plays. Nolan Cook, a guy that, I think defensively have made some outstanding stops on the inside. Obviously, Walker Lee, go-to guys that you expect to make plays. They're stepping up big time. And again, I think it's also offensively, we've seen them do a nice job. I think the line play pretty solid because, let's face it, this defense of the Sholo Cougars on the front, very athletic, very quick, very physical. And so the Blue Ridge Yellowjackets doing a nice job. But I think, unfortunately, they're still down by 7. They've had opportunities to score. They've had some opportunities that they just didn't take advantage of, whether it was mental letdowns on a few. We saw, as Punt had mentioned, the penalties that took them all the way back, cut block, jumping off sides repeatedly, time after time. Dropped a touchdown pass, and then underthrew another one. It's been a tough night for the Yellowjackets. Sholo Cougars, obviously, things that have gone wrong too have gone wrong, and yet they're still winning by 7. And we've seen the Blue Ridge Yellowjackets with the ball for most of the game. It's going to be interesting here in the second half to see what happens. I think the key is the Yellowjackets have to kind of pick up right where they left off. They start with the ball. They need to keep the ball for a while, keep that offense of the Cougars off the field, and not let them get into, what they do is they're a powerhouse. They're a tempo team that's going to drive down, score, keep you on your heels, and then they're going to turn around and come back and do it again, much like the Yellowjackets did in their successful years. So I think the key right now is going to come out offensively for the Yellowjackets, sustain a nice drive. If you don't get in the end zone, you need to get down the field far enough where the Shoalo Cougars have a lot of field to work against.
Yeah, we talk a lot about the execution problems for the Jackets in the first half, but there's been equally execution problems for the Cougars in the first half as well. But that was kind of the key to the game tonight. We knew that the Jackets were going to have to take advantage of the execution issues that the Cougars maybe were willing to give up to them, and so far in the first half they haven't done that.
Injuries on both sides of the field, obviously. Marky Potter, a guy that got hurt second play of the game, and had to leave. That's a huge hurt for the Shoalo Cougars. Not only to lose that guy, but the fact that mentally, I think, the interruption, that's something that it's a distraction. These are kids, and still they've done an outstanding job.
That'll wrap up our Sunrise Park Resort halftime show as we get set for the second half. Sunrise Park Resort open for business. Go check it out. Great skiing and snowboarding happening this weekend at Sunrise Park Resort. They got over 19 inches of fresh snow over the weekend, and they are open for business. The earliest open in a long time at Sunrise Park. Go to sunriseskipark.com for details. That's sunriseskipark.com as the Yellowjackets will receive this second half kickoff, trailing 7-0. And a big booming kick caught by Schimmel at the 1. Brings it up to the 5, 10, 15, up the middle, and now to the right hash marks. He gets it across the 20-yard line. Schimmel will be knocked down at the 21. Austin Daniels and Willie Wyatt combine on the tackle.
Well, nice job by Schimmel just hanging on to the ball. Again, good play by the kickoff team for the Cougars. Stay in their lanes, converge on the runner, and again, it comes out, it's kind of a wash. Comes out just beyond the 20. I guess it worked to the Yellowjackets' advantage by a yard.
Not a lot out of the fans right now as we come back into this opening up in this third quarter with the Jackets trailing 7-0. Handed to Cook straight ahead. Cook out across the 25-yard line, falls forward to the 21. And he picks up about 4 yards on first down as the Yellowjackets able to get out to the 25, a gain of 4 on first down. And we apologize to our fans on the radio side. Something here in the stadium is knocking us off the air. We're not sure exactly what's going on, but bring you back up to speed. We're Jacket football at the beginning of the third quarter, second down and 6 to go. Hand to Cook. And Cook will be tackled by Rusty Allen and Austin Daniels after a gain of 2 to the Yellowjacket 28-yard line. As we open up this third quarter with the Cougars leading 7-0.
And I like the play. You got to stay with what works. Nolan Cook's been working in the first half. Just come back out with 2 plays immediately, trying to take advantage of his athleticism and also the break he got. Looking a little tired at the end of the first half. If you're going to run him, now's a great time.
Schimmel wide to the near side, along with Johnson. Handed to Cook. Cook has a hole off tackle right side. He squirts through across the 30-yard line to the 32. And he'll pick up a Mountain Comfort Heating and Cooling first down. Rusty Allen on the stop for the Cougars.
Rusty Allen coming in from the corner spot, really collapsing back inside, making the stop. But again, Nolan Cook, three plays riding his shoulders and gets that first down, keeps this drive moving.
10.5 remaining here in the third. Schimmel wide to the left side of the set. 3 receivers in a bunch set tight on the right side of the line. And play action for Spencer Hall, and he bounces one across the turf to Schimmel. Schimmel coming on a comeback pattern, and Hall just didn't get enough juice behind it.
Well, again, nice play, design play that time. Schimmel split far to the near side, right along the Sholo Cougars sideline. And again, he's been going vertical. You see Fawcett turn early. This time Schimmel tries to come back, but well underthrown. You know, not a very good throw by Spencer Hall.
7-0 Cougars, 10-14 to play third quarter. Third down and 10. Hall in the gun. Handed off to Cook straight ahead, and a big hole opened up, but it closed quickly as Jace Wyatt comes over and trips him up at the 35-yard line. He falls forward to the 38.
I tell you what, it looked like he was going to go to the end zone. Outstanding play by Jace Wyatt. Manages to trip him up, bring him down. You can see him, the defensive leader for the Sholo Cougars, out there encouraging his defense to rally and make this stop 3rd and 4.
Third down and 4, as you mentioned, Bill. Wide receiver Schimmel to the right side of the set. Double tight ends. Actually, slot right, tight end left. Hall, play action right. Throws underneath. Caught by Miles. And Miles knocked out of bounds. It'll be very close to a Lacey Weeks at Wallach and Volk Mortgage. First down at the Jacket 42-yard line. First down, the Jackets move the chains.
Not a bit of hesitation by the official. Probably makes the Sholo sidelines a little frustrated, but Jace Wyatt, we mentioned, only about 75%. Leg injuries wrapped up. Again, does a nice job getting to the sideline. Nate Miles, a very athletic, fast guy, and yet Wyatt does a great job knocking him out of bounds.
Johnson and Schimmel wide to the left. Cook in the backfield with Spencer Hall on first down and 10. Hand to Cook, hit at the line of scrimmage, spins and gets about a yard. Wyatt hit him first. Daniels cleans him up, and he gets 2 yards on the carry. How about that for a second effort that time by Nolan Cook?
And Nolan Cook, nobody easy to bring down. We talked about Jace Wyatt's ability to tackle. Comes up, reads it, comes up with a hard hit, but that doesn't knock Nolan Cook down. Manages to keep his feet, still gets a couple yards.
Second down and 8 from the Blue Ridge 44-yard line. Cook along with Johnson in the I set behind Hall. Play action, ball batted up in the air, caught by Walker Lee. Walker Lee gonna run to the left side, and he'll have some positive yardage across the 45-yard line. Walker Lee able to come up with that one after it was tipped by Dallin Crandall at the line of scrimmage. And he's able to rumble his way down to the 47-yard line, call it the 46 before he's brought down.
Every offensive lineman's dream, a tip ball. Again, the big fella manages to come up with it, Walker Lee, and he actually spun, turned inside, and started trying to bounce outside, managed to get a couple yards.
Third down and 7. Call it 3rd and 6. And now the fans to their feet. Spencer Hall in the gun. 2 receivers left, 2 to the right. Hall to throw. Has his man. Caught by Penrod. First down. He'll be knocked down at the 44-yard line. And Fawcett, or excuse me, Van Winkle in on the tackle that time.
I think it was Fawcett who really made the tackle. Grabbed him by the jersey, brought him down. Tristan Penrod, a big guy. Again, last year was on that, I think, state championship soccer team. His senior year comes out for football. An outstanding basketball player, makes an outstanding catch, uses those soft hands. Outstanding job by Tristan Penrod.
Tremendous catch by... And a handoff here, or excuse me, quarterback keeper on the option. Spencer Hall going to keep it and gets out across the 40-yard line down to the 36. A gain of, call it 7 on first down, second and a short 3 coming up.
And this is his first year. The junior quarterback, Spencer Hall, does a nice job on the option. Not a guy that we think can run or expected to run this year. Has really been smart about the way he does it, does an outstanding job. This year, a rough week for Spencer. His uncle died just a day ago, yet still playing solid tonight.
Here's the handoff to Miles coming around the left side, hit in the backfield, and he is dropped. Quentin Clark punches him in the numbers and knocks him to the turf.
And that had ugly written all over it. Nate Miles, again, we know the quickness Nate Miles has, his ability to get around the corner. This time kind of on a counter or reverse, it almost looked like. but the speed of that Show Low defense, anytime they got lots of time to recover, they make a nice stop, dropping him for a 2-yard loss.
6.5 left to play in the third quarter. Cougars lead 7-0. A third down and 4 to go here. Yellowjackets shifting things up, and they go to an I set here. Put Miles in the slot on the left side. Hand it to Johnson. Johnson squirts 3 across the 35 at the 33-yard line. He'll be knocked down. Rusty Allen on the stop for the Cougars, but he had his knee down back at the 34.
Jace Wyatt getting up slowly, hobbling back to his defense. Took a shot on that one. Chris Johnson, just that lead up the right side. He's got Nolan Cook leading the way. Tucks in behind him, quick surge to get through. And again, that's what Chris Johnson does so well. He's not a big guy, but he's hard to find, and a lot of quickness. Just blasts up inside, and we'll see. They're measuring right now, but great call by the Yellowjackets.
Johnson gets the 4 yards, but it'll be short by about an inch. You see the official holding up the thumb and the forefinger there. About an inch, 2 inches left to go here for a first down. So it is going to bring up, should be 4th down.
You know, they're in that part of the field where you got to be disciplined mentally. They're right on the Show Low, in front of the Show Low fans. And again, a lot of noise going on for the Yellowjacket offense.
Jackets going to go for it for the second time tonight. They were unable to convert on 4th down in the first half. In Cougar territory. Handed off to Cook, straight ahead, keeps his feet, pounds his way forward, and the pile moves forward with him, and he'll get down to the 32-yard line. Good for a Lacey Weeks at Wallach and Volk Mortgage. First down. How about the leg drive?
Well, it's a game of inches, Camden, and that time you can see the tight scrum. It's just meat on meat. That time the Yellowjackets get away with it, get the first down, keep this drive alive.
Nice play by the Jackets to get a fresh set of downs. They trail it here 7-0 with 5.5 remaining in the third quarter. Spencer Hall under center. Cook lines up as a single back. Hall looking to roll, and now he's going to keep it. Tucks it 30-yard line, and he gets hammered in the face at the 23-yard line, and Spencer Hall is down on the turf. Quentin Clark is hurt as well. He comes off holding his looks like his left hand, maybe his left shoulder. And Spencer Hall says, "I'm okay," to the official. Looks like he's trying to say, "Hey, I'm all right." And
what a shot.
And it looks like Coach Morrow has come out to talk to the official.
And well, again, he's got Brennan Schimmel he's talking to. Brennan Schimmel, we saw him play earlier, a few plays under center.
What a hit, though. Right square in the face, a helmet-to-helmet contact. And the Show Low fans, of course, don't like it. But the reality is, in today's environment, with the discovery of how dangerous concussions are, that is one of those plays that has not been allowed for several years now, you know, at any level.
If this was college, he'd be kicked out of the game. You can't lose sight of that. Again, there's an awareness about head injuries. It is a very physical game. But again, outstanding hit. Unfortunately, got led with his head. And again, Blue Ridge with that great field position, best they've had all night.
Mountain Comfort Heating and Cooling, first down. Inside the red zone now. Schimmel coming around the right side. Wyatt going to dump him for a loss. He goes down at the 11-yard line. Gain of 1 on the play.
And, you know, it looks like you've got the corner. It looks like with the speed of Schimmel, you would think he's going to get there. But that shows how quick this defense is of the Show Low Cougars. Recovering, bouncing out there. And again, Jace Wyatt, injured, manages to stop him after only a yard.
2nd and 9 with the ball just shy of the 10-yard line. Double tight set here, man in motion is Johnson behind the formation. They hand it off to Miles coming around the other side. He gets away from one tackle, spins into a couple of other defenders, and he's going to be knocked down. There'll be no gain on the play, maybe a loss on the play back to the 11-yard line. The nose of the football was just shy of the 10. They'll give him a loss of 1 on this one. They mark him back to the 11.
Great job by the Show Low Cougars. staying home. Nate Miles, another speed guy on the counter, coming back around the left side. But again, the speed of the Show Low Cougar defense, staying home, come up and dropping for a loss.
Under 4 minutes to play in the third quarter. The Cougars on top, 7-0. Yellowjackets looking to score here inside the Cougar red zone at the Show Low 11-yard line. A third down and 11. Schimmel wide to the left, eye tandem in the backfield. Hall to throw. Has his man. Caught by Schimmel. Touchdown! 11 yards as they go between defenders to put up the score. A great pass by Hall and an even better catch by Schimmel.
Hey, big players make big plays when you need them most. Brennan Schimmel, again, outstanding catch. 2 defenders against him. But Spencer Hall takes that shot to the head, still comes out, throws it on a line right where it needed to be. Outstanding throw by Spencer Hall and an incredible catch by Brennan Schimmel, making up for the one he drops because it was well defended by the Cougars.
And they are an extra point away from tying this up. Cody McBride on to try the point after try. The snap is there, the kick is up, and it's through. We're tied at 7. 3 minutes, 35 seconds left to play in the third. We'll step away. This is Show Low Ford's presentation of high school football on iTalk 106.7 and worldwide on iTalk1067.com.
Test 1, 2, check, check.
White Mountain Youth Productions bring you local high school sports, and they need your help. Your tax-deductible sponsorship keeps the high school students producing our local sports. To become a sponsor, call City 4 TV at 928-532-4160.
Welcome back to the Dome in Round Valley, the 2013 state semifinal games, and a game, I should say, and what a game it's been. 7-7, all knotted up here with 3 minutes and 35 seconds left to play in the third.
And you know, I tell you what, a shocker. Who would have thunk the Yellowjackets would have tied it up here in the third quarter, this score this close. Again, a very explosive offense, but it's not over. The Yellowjackets defense have got to figure out a way to slow down, continue slowing down this offense of the Show Low Cougars.
McBride tees it up at the 40, puts a boot into it, gets a high end-over-ender that'll be fielded by Rove at the 5. Out to the 10, 15, 20, 25. Angles to the far side, spins out of a tackle at the 30, and will be knocked down at the 33-yard line. Ted Sipe, along with Wyatt Cooley, on the stop for the Yellowjackets. Let's go downstairs and check in with Ron Everingham. Ron?
Down here on the Blue Ridge sidelines, I just want to mention, it might be cold outside, but it's warm for these players down on the sidelines. Right after that touchdown catch, Brennan Schimmel comes out and has a cramp in his calf and has to get it stretched out. Also took a look at Spencer Hall. I mean, the kid is gutsy. He comes over. I still feel like he's blinking hard and trying to shake off that hit that he took before he threw that touchdown pass.
All right, thanks a lot, Ron. And of course, they'll be watching that closely. That's not something, as you mentioned, Bill, that they take lightly at any level at this point. Hand it to Crandall on first down. Walker Lee knifes in and makes the stop, but Crandall going to get a couple yards out to the Cougar 35.
And we talk about the running abilities of Dallin Crandall. Every play, again, he leaves his feet. He's fighting for every yard. Looks like Blue Ridge actually did have it well defended. Still manages to come up with over 2 yards or 2 yards out of what looked like he was going to get nothing.
Under 3 minutes to play here in the third quarter. We're tied at 7. Second down and 8 from the Cougar 35, and we get all kinds of motion, and the ball never comes through. It looks like maybe the center had the snap count confused a bit, or the Cougar, whole right side of the Cougar hands team that time looked like they jumped off sides.
You know, this is like a classic heavyweight battle. These two teams getting after it. Two coaches getting after that know each other so well. And we'll see what they pull out. You know, we really haven't seen much trickery. And both these coaches usually have some up their sleeve. We'll see if we see anything tonight.
Second down and 13 from the 30-yard line. You like that word, Bill?
I like any
any word you come up with. You like any word you come up with.
Any word that stumbles comes out of my mouth.
Under 2.5 to play, and looks like Walker Lee going to stuff Kobe Maxwell at the 30-yard line. No gain on the play.
You know, we've talked about Walker Lee, just one of those country-strong guys. He's what, 6'4", 6'5", probably weighs 220, but just very athletic, one of the faster guys on the field, playing from that defensive end, a down position, and just does an outstanding job. Even though you know he's there and you're working against him, playing against him, he still comes up and manages to make plays.
Maxwell gets the play from Coach Reisdorf, comes into the sideline, third down, comes in from the sideline, I should say. They're facing a 3rd down and 13 here. In the gun, Kobe Maxwell with an empty backfield, 5 wide receivers, throws down the middle, and a penalty marker going to come in here as we get contact. Nolan Cook gets tangled up that time with Dallin Crandall, I believe.
It really looked like Schimmel coming up, really jumped the route, coming up to make a play. Crandall going vertical, again being chased by Cook, and Cook might have bumped him, but Cook didn't turn around, probably is what happened.
Let's see if we can get this replay again. They had the replay up here for a moment, but see if we can roll back that replay and see where the contact was. Of course, Blue Ridge fans wanted incidental contact. Here it is again on replay, and everybody going for the ball there. Didn't look like there was. It looked like it was incidental.
Hey, if you're wearing green and gold, you're smiling. Green and yellow, or actually it's green and gold, I think. Purple and gold, you're scowling. But you know, that's the name of this game. That's why those guys wear those stripes, because they
get paid to make the call.
Bars.
Yeah. Lacey Weeks at Wallach and Volk Mortgage, first down to the Cougar 45. Handed off, Crandall sweeping left side, slips a tackle midfield, 45, 40, and he'll be knocked down inside the 40-yard line at the 36. Good for a Mountain Comfort Heating and Cooling first down, and Dallin Crandall living up to his reputation in tonight's contest. Wyatt Cooley is down on the field. Looks like his neck is hurting him as he's going to come out of the contest.
I think that run was Willie Wyatt, 31, not Dallin Crandall. Willie Wyatt, again, does an outstanding job, gets into that secondary of the Blue Ridge defense quickly, and he's a train wreck. You know, just a hard guy to bring down, much outweighing quite a bit the undersized Cooley.
Spencer Hall will come in for Cooley, and they hand it off, and Fawcett gonna find some room. Ball's loose on the floor, and it looks like the Jackets have it at the 32. Fawcett was in traffic, and he had it stripped away, and I believe it may have been Armillo on the strip.
Matt Armillo on the inside, number 3, making a play, strips the ball. But that's part of it, you know, a game like this with the emotions. Fawcett, to his credit, fighting, trying to get every yard, spins, and this time can't hang on to the ball.
A minute left to play in the 3rd quarter, and the Yellowjackets taking advantage of the 3rd turnover of the night. It's the 2nd fumble and 1 interception tonight, and the Yellowjackets will enjoy a drive-stopping turnover at their 31-yard line, and we get timeout on the field with a minute left in the 3rd quarter, and we're tied at 7. The Yellowjackets tying it up in this 3rd quarter with a 12-yard pass from Hall to Schimmel. The PAT is good. We're knotted up at 7, and how often have you said in your career, Bill, you never want to see the same team twice in a season?
Well, I tell you what, you don't. It's so hard to, you know, especially when you humiliate them the way the Cougars just manhandled them the first time. The Blue Ridge Yellowjackets really coming out making or playing, I think, about as good as they have played all year. We saw them improving throughout the season, but tonight really putting it out there because both teams getting after it. These turnovers, you got to credit that defense doing an outstanding job, stripping the ball, coming away with it, because the Shoalo Cougars mounting what was a very good drive.
Spencer Hall under center. They send Miles in motion. He sets as the slot on the right side. Hand it off to Johnson. Second man through. Has room. 40, 45. Slips the tackle. 50. And gets into Cougar territory. One man to beat. Quentin Clark knocks him out of bounds at the Cougar 43. And it looks like Tristan Penrod is down on the turf back at the 44-yard line with a cramp. We talked a little bit about the heat, or Ron Everingham did, about the heat in the dome here. Unlike playing any place else in the White Mountains tonight, with the temperatures below freezing outside and great conditions in here, but maybe plaguing the Jackets a little bit, Bill.
Well, absolutely. Both teams, probably affected by it. But again, these guys getting after it.
Wide receiver to the near side. Motion to the right by Miles. Sets as the slot. Hand it to Cook. Cook straight ahead across the 40. Has positive yardage to the 36-yard line. Call it the 37.
Not glad to see that.
38,
Cook hobbling a little bit. You see that right ankle taped up. You can see him unhappy as he's hobbling off the field. Brennan Schimmel coming back on, as well as Adam Padilla. But Nolan Cook, on both sides of the ball, having an outstanding night, a guy that you want to see on the field. And obviously, coach is paying attention to him right now, seeing what he needs.
7-7 tie, 19 seconds on the third quarter game clock. Schimmel coming wide to the near sideline. Snap, hand, Miles straight ahead across the 35-yard line. Jace Wyatt and Brett Van Winkle bring him down at the 34.
Nice little quick blast up the inside for Nate Miles. We've seen him trying to run him to the outside, unable to come up with it.
Picks up 4 yards, and that'll be the end of the third quarter. Fourth and final coming up next. We're tied at 7. This is Shello Ford's presentation of high school football on iTalk 106.7 and worldwide on iTalk1067.com.
My friend Alex was diagnosed with cancer, so I put on a concert with tons of other kids so they could help raise money and lift his spirits.
It's a very good feeling to volunteer.
Kids can really make a difference.
Helping other people in my community.
To do something bigger than myself.
Start at a young age and keep promoting the spirit of volunteerism as you go throughout your life.
Young students make a big difference when they volunteer. Encourage them to learn more about the Prudential Spirit of Community Awards. Visit spirit.prudential.com.
Dome in Round Valley. It's a 7-7 tie as we go to the fourth and final quarter. And Bill, how about this game? We were hoping for a good one, and it is not disappointed here tonight.
Oh, absolutely.
We'll let you talk to your phone there, Bill. Third down and 2. Hand it to Johnson. Johnson straight ahead across the 35 to the 33-yard line. Stacked up there close to a Mountain Comfort heating and cooling first down. And Van Winkle, first man there for the Cougars, and another Cougar slow to get up.
Again, you could see Jace Wyatt. He's hobbling out there on both sides. This physical play catching up. These guys beat up like a couple of old heavyweights, that have been battled. But
Willie Wyatt was slow to get up on that one as well, Bill. Tight end lining up to the right side. Schimmel splits wide to the left, and they bring Padilla in the slot to the right side. I tandem in the backfield. Hand it to Miles. Miles hit in the backfield. Drop for a loss. And he is going to be down for a net loss of 3 yards.
Austin Mills, big fella on the inside. Austin Mills, 5'10", 280-pound nose guard. And big fella can cover some ground deceptively. As big as he is, can still manage to cover. Trying to pull Walker Lee. Austin Mills jumps right on his hip, gets great penetration, and stuffs it. No easy task for anybody, but big fella made a huge play.
Good eyes, Bill, as the Jackets lose 4 on the play. Second down and 14. Wide receiver left. Hall looking to throw here, but a penalty marker down, and we're going to get another procedure call, I think, against the Jackets. Schimmel unhappy with the call.
We talk about Austin Mills. I mentioned he's 280, right? He's matched up against the center, Nick Baker. He's only a sophomore, 5'10", 152 pounds. 130 pounds to the advantage of the nose guard, and you can see him. He's just in a bull rush, charging, and if anybody out there is going to have a little bit of a headache, it might be Nick Baker, the center for the Yellowjackets.
You know, the Jackets have always been able to find ways to get the smallest and youngest to play well up front. And this year is no exception, as they've had a lot of young guys and a lot of small guys on this team. Hall looking to throw on second down and long here. Tux runs at the 40, 35, and dives down at the 30-yard line. Spencer Hall gets it back inside the original sticks, as he's going to pick up a ton of yardage here. And we get an injured player on the field for the Sholo Cougars. Jace Wyatt coming off. He injured the tendon of that right leg behind the calf.
I tell you, heroic effort by Jace Wyatt all night long. You can see him a little frustrated, but that to come off the field, he's been hobbling the whole game. What an outstanding, tough player he's been, and that's really a reflection of what's going on tonight. And what a play by Spencer Hall. You know, a lot of quarterbacks maybe would have made an errant throw. He wisely just holds on to it, gets some yards out of it. A manageable third down.
3rd and 7 from the Cougar 30. Johnson cuts inside, has room, has a first down, knocked down, thrown down at the 20-yard line. Johnson picks up a Lacey Weeks at Wallach and Volk Mortgage first down for the Yellowjackets.
Great job by the offensive front. Again, downfield blocking. Chris Johnson manages to keep his feet, gets those yards after he's got some Cougars on him. Just a great night for Chris Johnson.
9.5 remaining in the contest. We're tied at 7. Yellowjackets just outside the Cougar red zone. And the Cougar defense is asking for the crowd to get back into this game.
And for the Yellowjackets, they're now down on the Blue Ridge side of the field.
Double tights. Miles in motion behind the formation. Give it to Johnson. Johnson skating across a defender, bounces it down inside the 20. Will be knocked down at the 17. He picks up 4 yards on first down. He knows of the football just shy of the 16.
Big fella Nolan Cook comes back in. Chris Johnson looked a little bit shaken up, comes off the field. So the Yellow Jacket, much needed Yellow Jacket, Nolan Cook comes back out on the field. You can see the pace for the Yellow Jackets, very methodical. Physically looking a little beat up and exhausted. Still got to get some points on the board. Score all tied, 8:35 left in this battle.
Schimmel wide to the right side of the set. Padilla is the slot on the right side, and the Yellow Jackets call, I think, their second time out of the half. So they have, I believe, one remaining here. So we'll see how that affects them. We'll keep it here with 8:29 left to play on this clock, and the opportunity for us to talk about those students who make a difference here in our broadcast. The students have been with us all season long on our live streaming and also on our City 4 broadcast week in and week out. Technical director Sage McCrill, graphics Dakota Hayes, audio Mel West tonight, field cameras Zach Perkins, Sky Perez, Michael Pierce, Brittany Riggins, Trent Kleinman. The main camera tonight, Micah Davis. Production assistants, McKenna Brannon, Zach Davis, and Ember Evans. And on the field, I get Ron to remind me of this young man's name who's had the effects mic for us all night long. Henry Hartlem is on the sideline tonight with our effects night. After the timeout, our effects mic, I should say. After the timeout, Yellow Jackets facing a 2nd down and 6. Play action, screen to the left side, caught, room to run, and they're going to mark in for the touchdown. 16 yards, and the Yellow Jackets executing a perfect call to Nathan Miles, and he's in for the score.
What an outstanding call by the Sholo side, or Blue Ridge sideline. Really caught the Show Low Cougars off guard. Nate Miles goes in, 2 lead blockers, gets into the corner of the end zone on the far side, untouched. And what a game again. Now a little pucker factor for the Show Low Cougars. Other than those 2 early games, how many times have they been behind this year? And again, in the semifinals, the Show Low Cougars now got their back up against the wall.
Hall to hold, McBride to kick. Point after try is good. And the Yellowjackets lead it 14-7 with 8 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in this contest. We'll step away. This is Show Low Ford's presentation of high school football on iTalk 106.7 and iTalk1067.com.
Yeah, I know everybody's talking about football, high school, college, pro, and why not? It's great. Here at Show Low Ford, we know that winning in football or selling trucks is all about attitude and execution. We're #1 in new Ford truck sales in the White Mountains for a reason. Guy Hatch will not be undersold, period. Save up to $10,000 on built Ford Tough trucks. Finance at 0% for up to 60 months and get cash back. And a lifetime warranty on top of it. Yeah, Ford has been the #1 selling truck for 36 years running, and Show Low Ford has been #1 in the White Mountains. Why?
Welcome back to the Dome in Round Valley. The Yellowjackets go on top by a score. Let's check in with Ron Everingham. Ron?
A couple plays before that touchdown pass, the Show Low coaches were begging their defense to keep an eye on Schimmel, which is pretty interesting given that everybody's focused on Schimmel on that last touchdown pass to Nate Miles.
Thanks, Ron, as McBride puts a boot into it and sails this one through the end zone. I love it when you see the excitement and the adrenaline transfer to the kicker on the ensuing kickoff, and they put it through the end zone.
I tell you what, high school sports, I think what we enjoy about it is it's an emotional game. These teams getting after it, putting it all out there, and these kids are young. What an outstanding job it's been. You couldn't ask for a better game to watch than these 2 teams are putting on for us tonight.
Show Low Cougars come out on the field trailing. There's been few games this season that the Cougars have been in this situation, trailing in the 4th quarter.
Well, you know what? This is a pucker moment. This is when you got the great teams are going to step up, make the drive. Again, we'll see. They scored in the air. We'll see if they challenge in the air.
Solomon and Van Winkle wide to the right side. They hand it off, and they're going to be stuffed in the backfield. Fawcett tries to get around the right edge. Duke Tussing and Nolan Cook combined on the tackle to drop him for a loss of a half a yard.
Really just all kinds of trickery coming back around. Trickeration coming back on the counter off of a counter. And you know what I liked about it by Coach Reisdorf, they go back to Fawcett. He turned the ball over earlier at a critical time. This time they go back to him, hangs on to it. Even though the play doesn't go, you got to have faith in your kids. I like the call.
Absolutely, well said. Van Winkle wide to the right along with Solomon. Kobe Maxwell looking to throw, has lots of time, puts it up in the air, and Schimmel hammers Solomon in the back as he tries to make the play. It was a good throw, but Schimmel gets a huge hit on that far side.
They do, and actually roll right to the right side. 2 blockers out in front. Great blocking by the Show Low front. Lots of time, and the throw underneath. Everybody staying underneath. Nobody going deep. Well defended by the Jackets, though, as they collapse on the ball, knock it loose. Really almost had a shot at it.
Solomon and Van Winkle wide right, tight end, double tight set. Van Winkle in motion towards the formation, running right to left. Play action to him, throw it up in the air in double coverage, and McBride almost had a pick. Got his hands on it, but unable to come down with it.
Great play by Schimmel defensively. Cody McBride playing center field. The free safety reads it like a center fielder. Comes up, just came up a little bit too far. Got his hands on it, couldn't come up with it. Credit also, pressure on the line by Walker Lee. Comes in, and I think Maxwell saw his pressure, maybe made a throw he wanted back.
We've seen the Cougars go for it in all areas of the field, and this appears to be no exception. Kobe Maxwell lining up. Miles is back, stands at the Cougar 49. Now Maxwell will back up to his 10.
That's far.
Want a timeout.
And a timeout is called. The Cougars want to talk it over.
It's actually far back. And far, we saw a punt out of that. And you saw him dropping back, getting more depth like it was going to be a punt. Coach Reisdorf runs on the field, calls timeout, wants to get his team to regroup a little bit.
That's not the play that he wanted, apparently, as he calls timeout. Let's check in with Royce Kincannon in this scoring update. Royce?
All right, we got some finals from around Division 4 and 5 so far. River Valley upset Seton Catholic 43-12. Brown Valley Elks are down by 1. It's 22-21 late in the fourth. Yuma Catholic is beating Thatcher 59-28. And your score here, 14-7, Blue Ridge over Shiloh. Back to you.
Royce, as the Cougars are going to be forced to punt here, or so it appears. And it looks like Farr going to stand at his 9-yard line, gets a good snap and a nice tight spiral with nobody back for the Jackets. Bounces at the 42, takes a Cougar bounce and rolls all the way inside the 30. Goes out of bounds at the 29-yard line. Big punt there for Sholo. But the Jackets, who have been moving the football literally all game long, with the football and a 1-touchdown advantage and 7:22 left on the game clock.
Well, I think it boils down to it's a game of possession, right? Yellowjackets have the ball in the first half, and again, if they can manage to take some time off the clock, 7:22, they've got a 7-point lead here in the fourth quarter, 7:22 on the clock. If they can manage to keep this drive, sustain a drive, that's what it boils down to.
Blue Ridge has amassed 152 yards in total offense in the second half, and the Cougars have been held to just 20 yards in offense.
Again, and I don't know anybody who's more shocked than us. You couldn't imagine a team like the Sholo Cougars held to 20 yards.
Cook on the carry on first down, a gain of about 3 yards. 2nd and 7 coming up. And you know, Bill, all week people have been asking me, you think the Yellowjackets can beat the Cougars? And my response has been, well, yeah, they can, but they're going to have to play mistake-free, and they're going to have to take advantage of some mistakes by the Cougars. Spencer Hall under center, hands it off. Johnson sweeping left side, turns it upfield at the 30, cuts it inside. Crandall going to make the stop. He fights off the block, and he gets to the ball carrier and knocks him down at the 35-yard line.
Also, Fawcett on that far side comes up and stuffs it. Really outside leverage, trying to let Crandall catch back up to it. So, again, most teams, you saw that it looked like it was going to, the play was going to go, but the speed of the defense of the Sholo Cougars managed to stuff him for just a few yards.
Nothing's been easy tonight. That is for sure. Hall in the gun. Cook in the backfield. They hand to him on a bit of a counter. He has room. First down and more. Across the 40-yard line. Ball's loose, but the official says no. He was on the ground. He was down first. The ball cannot cause the fumble. And a Lacey Weeks at Wallach and Volk Mortgage first down for the Yellowjackets out to the Jacket 43, called the 44.
Coach Morrow keeps it simple. You know, he gets a lot of different looks, but he runs the same stuff that time. Again, another spread offense, split it far to the right. Kind of distracts the defense, just a power play off the left side. And again, a first down. The ball still in the Yellowjackets' possession. 5:37 clock ticking here in the fourth.
Cook taking a jab step to the right, then handed off to him going left to add to that confusion, as you mentioned, that motion to the right side. They go straight ahead to Johnson this time.
Willie Wyatt.
And Willie Wyatt down around the legs, knocks him down after a gain of 1 out to the 45-yard line.
And again, it's a pucker play for the defense. Again, they've got to make a stop. Here we see Jace Wyatt hobbling back onto the field, a guy that has made some outstanding plays, even if he's only at 70, 60, 10%. Yeah, a guy, his 10% is better than most guys for the Sholo Cougars. And emotionally and mentally a team leader, a guy you want on the inside.
Wyatt back in at middle linebacker, second down and 9. Spencer Hall
timeout,
trying to get his team set up offensively, and the Yellowjackets burn another timeout here.
And we'll see what impact that has. Again, every timeout you want to keep. This is not one they wanted to make. But again, with the 2nd and long, really wanting to make sure they get the right set. They are all on the same page and have an opportunity, because this Yolo defense obviously is getting more and more stingy out there. And again, with the return of Jace Wyatt, kind of the anchor, the backbone of that defense, he's a team leader out there. It's going to be a tough road.
Maybe something about Jace Wyatt.
Now let's go downstairs and check in with Ron Everingham. Ron?
Yeah, Bill, about Jace Wyatt. He came out. I would have swore he was done. He was grimacing on the bench, and he couldn't go anymore. And finally, he just looked at the coach, and he's like, I got to get back in this game. So he's just a total gutsy performance right now by Jace.
Thanks a lot, Ron. And that's a big asset for the Yolo Cougars. And it looks like Wyatt going to move up to the nose position in this set. Hall, a quick bubble screen to the right side. Schimmel on the catch across the midfield stripe and into Cougar territory. Van Winkle and Rove steer him downwards and knock him down at the 46-yard line. Call it the 47.
Just a quick little rubber pick by Miles, who does a great job. And Schimmel, a guy that you want to get him the ball. It's all designed for yards after the catch. Split right to the far side, the near side, right in front of the Yolo bench. Schimmel managed to get a lot of yards, just shy of the first down, facing a critical 3rd and 1.
Wide receiver to the left is Schimmel. Hall under center with an eye set behind him. Handed off. No, keeps it on the option and takes it around the right end and has a Mountain Comfort heating and cooling first down. As we see Walker Lee getting tangled up on that right side there with Willie Wyatt, and then both players being helped up by a Cougar player.
And we've seen that all night long. Both teams helping the other teammate up, the other player up. But again, now the clock under 4 minutes. Yellowjackets 1st and 10 in Yolo Cougar territory. What you'll see is more aggressive play by the defense, trying to come up with a turnover.
A lot of respect by both of these teams, and certainly both teams playing very sportsmanlike tonight. Handed off to Miles. Miles is going to be caught up in traffic here, and Wyatt is holding that leg again as he comes up slow. A gain of 2 on the play. They give him forward progress out to the 41-yard line. 2nd and 8 coming up.
And again, it's big on big, front line, just a lead power play by the offense, and it's a powerful defense just meeting at the ball.
You think these two teams understand that this is the state championship game here?
Well, I tell you what, you can't help but think Seton Catholic or River Valley, is thrilled. These two teams fighting it, maybe burning up everything, and that gives them a better chance.
2nd and 8, 2 receivers left. Handed off straight ahead. Johnson spins out of a tackle, but won't get away from Solomon as he's tripped up and knocked down at the 46. The 36, but a penalty marker thrown at the 41.
It's going to be
a procedure call again against the Yellowjackets.
And we talked about, error-free. It hasn't been that for the Yellowjackets. They've gotten away with some mistakes. But again, this one, I think that's Solomon. Solomon's still down on the field.
Solomon, after the tackle, got rolled up. Looked like he got rolled up on to his leg. And let's go downstairs and check in with Ron Everingham. Ron?
Yeah, I think just watching the player that Solomon there, he's just got another cramp. Again, warm down here on the field. These guys have been battling all game long, and they're starting to cramp up a little bit. It's seasonably warm down here.
All right, thanks, Ron. And you usually expect to have this type of weather in the valley, but not necessarily up here in the White Mountains. 9 penalties tonight for 70 yards for the Yellowjackets. 2 receivers to the left. And a 2nd down and 14. Quick throw to Schimmel. Schimmel has the room across the 45 and gets up to the 40-yard line before he's brought down by Crandall and Clark. Clark and Fawcett. And Schimmel slow to get up.
He's cramping up, but a great play, great throw by Spencer Hall. Put it on a line to Schimmel. And a nice job by Miles. We saw him go to that pick earlier. Miles does an outstanding job. Not a big guy, but just battling, trying to get any kind of space for Schimmel to do his stuff, because Schimmel is a guy, another one of those athletic guys. All he needs is a little bit of space out in open field. He can make guys miss. Shoalo Cougars do a good job stopping him, though, shy of the first down.
The officials coming over to talk to the Shoalo coaching staff.
You know, I'm surprised we haven't had fans cramping. It's been one of those nights. The fans have been on their feet all night.
I'm sure there have been some fans
cramping. The volume in this place, it's been rocking. And it's been one of those nights starting to wear down our players.
Schimmel going to come off under his own accord. And the officials bringing the teams, giving the teams water, and I think a very wise decision to do so, letting both teams get some water here to get some hydration. You know, that's one of the things that you don't think about playing a game up in the mountain, is hydrating 24 hours before the game.
Hey, let's face it, Camden, we think about meals. We'd be thinking about food if we were anywhere. That's what we're thinking about now. But you're right. Unfortunately, if they're cramping, even drinking water right now, it's not gonna. It takes a while before you can get your body to recover.
Double wides, left and right. Hall in the gun. 3rd down and 7 from the 40. Handed straight ahead to Johnson. Johnson hit at the line of scrimmage, has maybe a yard to the 39. And how big was that penalty against the Yellowjackets, now facing a 4th down and a punting situation here. McBride has a big foot, but I don't think it's that big.
Again, you mentioned it, 1:58. Now it's a matter of, you know, who do you believe more in? Your ability offensively to convert, and or how much do you have faith in your defense? You know, you want to get about every yard you can if the Shoalo Cougars are going to mount a drive here at the end, and that's the dilemma.
2 minutes left in the contest, 14-7. And a timeout on the field. And I didn't see it. Must have been the Cougars that called the timeout. So, if I'm not mistaken, both teams out of timeouts. Oh no, excuse me. Shoalo has 1 timeout remaining. Trailing 14-7. Yellowjackets at the Cougar 39-yard line. And Tristan Penrod steps out to get ready to punt, stands at the Yellowjacket 45. Nobody back for the Cougars. Yellowjackets lining up in punt formation. Good snap. Penrod with the kick. Angles it.
Nice kick.
An end-over-ender. Rolls inside the 20. Bounces down and will be picked up at the 3-yard line. Big punt by Tristan Penrod, the state's leading punter. And he nails one inside the 20. Got a great jacket roll. It bounced near the 20-yard line and rolls all the way down to the 3.
That's about as ugly as a kicking you can get, and yet it was perfect. Rolls right all the way up to the 3-yard line. Great call, but again, the Shoalo Cougars, 1:50 left here. This is when players are going to step up. This is a great game. Great players got to make great plays.
14-7. 14-7. Yellowjackets with a 1-touchdown margin, picking up 2 touchdowns in the second half, trailed for the entire first 3 quarters. Able to get a touchdown with 8:20 left in the 4th.
Look for pressure on the inside by the Yellowjackets, because you know they're going to go vertical.
Empty backfield, quick throw to Quentin Clark here to the near side. Clark slips away from a tackle at the 15 and gets out to the 18-yard line. Good for a Mountain Comfort Heating and Cooling first down. They'll stop the clock. Did he get out of bounds? Out of bounds, so they stop the clock with 1:46. This is where the Cougars are very dangerous. 5 receivers. Kobe Maxwell scrambling to the right. Walker Lee hits him as he throws, and he throws it downfield to Solomon, but he's out of bounds. Solomon with the catch at the Cougar 44-yard line, but he's out of bounds.
Stride for stride, Nate Miles does an outstanding job, really rubbing him out of bounds, gave him no place to go. The throw out of bounds because of that defensive effort by Nate Miles.
Solomon and Van Winkle wide to the left, single receiver to the, or rather wide to the right, single receiver wide to the left. Double slots. Snap to Maxwell. Pump fakes. In trouble. Now fires. Has his man caught at the 27-yard line. And it's good for 9 yards. And a 3rd and 1 coming up.
Quentin Clark here on the near side, lined up against Cooley. And again, a fake, really trying to get him a double move.
Low snap. Throw to Solomon, good for a 1st down. He steps out of bounds with a minute 12 left to play. A Lacey Weeks at Wallach and Volk Mortgage 1st down.
Set up for a little pass prevent. Again, trying to get a little bit deeper on the secondary, trying to keep everything up front. But the Sholo Cougars again, now out to the 30 from their 3.
From the Sholo 31. Maxwell again with an empty backfield. 2 receivers right, 2 to the left. Steps back, looks to his left, now rolls to his right, in trouble, throws, and it's incomplete, out of bounds as he threw it away.
You know, when you're in a pass prevent, there's 2 ways you can play it. One is you're going to try to get pressure on the quarterback, send some guys and try to stop it, or you're going to play drop guys back. Yellowjackets right now only pressuring with 4 or 3, really trying to play secondary.
2nd down and 10. Maxwell throws it across the middle, caught by Crandall at the 40, spins out of a tackle and gets down to the 44-yard line. Good for a Mountain Comfort Heating and Cooling 1st down. Cody McBride on the stop.
Cody McBride comes up, makes the stop. Also chasing was 38. I don't know who that. That's Matt Harmio. I'm sorry.
Maxwell to throw. Quentin Clark on the reception at midfield. Has another Mountain Comfort Heating and Cooling 1st down across the 45 to the 44-yard line.
The upside for the Yellowjackets, cutting back inside. The clock will keep moving. You can see the defense or the offense again for the Sholo Cougars trying to quickly get set.
And Maxwell in the gun again. 2 receivers to the right, 2 to the left. Looking to throw on 1st down. It is caught by Clark underneath at the 38-yard line. Cooley on the stop, and he doesn't get out of bounds, so 38 seconds remaining and a timeout called by the Cougars here as the Sholo Cougars will set up shop here and have at least 3 more plays, depending on clock management here with 38 seconds left. The clock becoming their enemy and no timeouts remaining. We'll keep it here.
You know, we talk about the enemy, but I will tell you, this Sholo Cougar team can score on every play. They've got so many athletes out there, and that's the trouble for the Yellowjackets matching up. You know, on either side, when you spread, there's guys out there that can go vertical, that can make plays. Even in the backfield, these guys can score on every play. So it's a challenge for this Blue Ridge defense to match up athletically.
And are they setting something up, Bill, with those throws underneath?
Oh, well, again, we've seen the hook and ladder. We've seen all kinds of stuff. But also, yeah, throwing underneath. We saw that double move to the outside here. And again, Blue Ridge has got to not bite on that. They bought on it. Unfortunately for Sholo, they were looking to go to the far side. Never saw the receiver break.
2nd down and 5. Van Winkle and Solomon wide to the right. Crandall's the slot on the left side. Clark, wide receiver to the left side. 2nd and 5 from the Jacket 39. In trouble. Maxwell gets rid of it. Caught by Clark at the 32-yard line. And he steps out of bounds near the 25. And it's good for a Lacey Weeks at Wallach and Volk Mortgage 1st down. They say he's out at the 30-yard line.
Nice job by Wyatt. Cooley comes up, makes the tackle. But again, an outstanding job by Maxwell. Pressure, steps up, and makes that throw. Great job by Maxwell, the quarterback. For
2 right, 1 to the left. And pass knocked away and batted down by Johnson.
Although, you know, although that play didn't work for the Yellowjack or for the Cougars, the clock stops, which is to their advantage. No timeouts left by either team. Pressure that time, a little bit different approach. They bring Chris Johnson from the far side.
All kinds of trouble with our signal here tonight. We apologize. We've been knocked off the air if you're just joining us on the radio. And the Cougars now with a 2nd and 10. Maxwell deep to the end zone, and it's way overthrown, and it brings up 3rd and 10 with 22 seconds remaining. No timeouts for either team here. Jackets up by a touchdown, 14-7.
Again, on that play, Brent Van Winkle makes a cut. We haven't seen Schimmel go down to the ground very often, but that cut, he falls down. Cody McBride ends up covering also, does a nice job, but really the ball overthrown. Nobody could make a play.
Here's the snap. Crossing the middle, and it's knocked down. Intended for Rove. Cody McBride knocking it down. Looked like Wyatt Cooley, Armio in on the play as well.
A gutsy throw by Maxwell, threw it into traffic, and a gutsy catch, but defensively, the Yellowjackets collapse on the ball and knock it down. It all comes down to one play now, 4th and 10 from the 30-yard line of the Blue Ridge Yellowjackets.
And the bandwidth here at the Dome is absolutely nil, as we're having a hard time staying on the air here. We'll try to keep it on for you and do our best. Kobe Maxwell in the gun, empty backfield, 4th down and 10. Maxwell in trouble, steps up, ball batted
What a
down,
shot!
and it's incomplete. The Jackets will take over on downs and will win the state semifinals and will go to represent this section, what used to be the East, and the Yellowjackets are going to be victorious here tonight.
Michael Kane makes a play for the Yellowjackets. Again, pressure from the front. They had pressure coming from the outside. Maxwell steps up, makes a throw. Michael Kane gets a hand on it, tips it, knocks it down, and the Yellowjackets come away with a shocker. This is the game of all games, something you would never expect. Outstanding play by the Show Low Cougars, who come up just a little bit short.
Jackets line up in the kneeling formation. Spencer Hall takes the snap. He'll take a knee for the final play of the ball game, and the Blue Ridge Yellowjackets have just upset the #1 seed in the state of Arizona, the Show Low Cougars, 14-7 to head to the championship game next week. They'll face River Valley in the championship game on Saturday, actually this week, on Saturday at 6:30 from North Canyon High School. What a win, and a come-from-behind win for the Yellowjackets of Blue Ridge High School.
Unbelievable game. You couldn't ask for a better game, and these outstanding players for both teams put it out there. What a great game, great coaches, and what an upset. And I say upset because this Show Low Cougar team, it's shocking to believe that they could get beat. Just an outstanding game by the Yellowjackets, and you can credit that to the competitiveness of this rivalry, really. The Yellowjackets had no right to win it, and yet they still managed to.
Blue Ridge wins tonight 14-7, a almost insurmountable win for the Yellowjackets. I don't think anybody really believed that they could beat this Show Low Cougar team. The Cougars have been touted all season long as the state champions for 2013, but they have yet to be able, they have ended their season here abruptly with the loss to this Yellowjacket team. We'll step away. This is Show Low Ford's presentation of high school football on iTalk 106.7 and worldwide on iTalk1067.com.
Test 1, 2, check, check.
White Mountain Youth Productions bring you local high school sports, and they need your help. Your tax-deductible sponsorship keeps the high school students producing our local sports. To become a sponsor, call City 4 TV at 928-532-4160.
My friend Alex was diagnosed with cancer, so I put on a concert with tons of other kids so they could help raise money and lift his spirits.
It's a very good feeling to volunteer.
Kids can really make a difference.
Helping other people in my community.
To do something bigger than myself.
Start at a young age and keep promoting the spirit of volunteerism as you go throughout your life.
Young students make a big difference when they volunteer. Encourage them to learn more about the Prudential Spirit of Community Awards. Visit spirit.prudential.com.
for us to remind you that this is the Indian Pine Restaurant post-game wrap-up show brought to you by the Indian Pine Restaurant. We'll have the Indian Pine Restaurant player of the game. It's going to be a tough call tonight.
It is going to be a tough call. And again, your heart goes out because the team lost, the Sholo Cougars, a team that had an outstanding year and fell short in a shocker because those guys played their hearts out. You know, you look at the talent, the way the year these guys had, and to fall short like that, it's heartbreaking. Their coaches did an outstanding job. And I tell you what, when you talk about heroic effort, again, guys like Jace Wyatt, things like that you watched all night long, refusing to come off the field or getting back out there, I mean, that just demonstrated what kind of play was going on. Dallin Crandall, guys that, just played their hearts out, and you got to give a lot of respect and kudos to them.
Again, we apologize for our radio signal. We know that right now there's a lot of traffic online, and that's cut our signal drastically here tonight, and especially late in this contest. We've had all kinds of outages that we normally wouldn't have. Big game. We apologize for those listeners that are listening on iTalk 106.7. We invite you to stay tuned, though, to our stream at iTalk1067.com. Ron Everingham downstairs trying to get some more players to talk to, and we'll get a chance to talk to him. But first, let's go back to the studio and check in with Royce Kincannon and this scoring update. Royce? Yeah, we'll check in with Royce in a moment, as it looks like we've lost our audio once again back to the studio. So we'll step away. This is our Indian Pine Restaurant player of the game. A post-game wrap-up on iTalk 106.7 and worldwide on iTalk1067.com. We'll be back after this.
Test 1, 2, check, check.
White Mountain Youth Productions bring you local high school sports, and they need your help. Your tax-deductible sponsorship keeps the high school students producing our local sports. To become a sponsor, call City 4 TV at 928-532-4160.
Championship.
My friend Alex was diagnosed with cancer. I put on a concert with tons of
Great, amazing game. So proud of the kids there. Early on in the season, you talked about the team trying to find an identity. What do you think that identity looks like right now?
Well, I think we figured out that we can work as hard as anybody, and these guys have come a long way, and we've gotten punched around a little bit, and now they know they're fighters and they're going to be in for it for the whole 4 quarters, and that's exciting to see. You know, guys not roll over. They might take it on the chin a little bit because that's a really good football team that we just played, and not always does the best team win. The team that plays better wins, and that's what happened tonight, I thought.
Maybe give me a couple of kids that you just that just showed up tonight that maybe you didn't expect to for us, that were the difference in this game.
You know, I don't really want to single out one because I really thought it was, you know, like I've said earlier, it's like next man up. Instead of waiting for people to make plays like we did early because we had so many inexperienced players, these guys have figured out that they get to make the plays if they want it bad enough. And we had one guy after another making big plays, and I think it was because they changed their attitude. They didn't wait for our, top dogs like Brennan to wait. Everybody wasn't standing around waiting for Brennan. Everybody was. It was like a race to see who could get the next big play.
Awesome. Okay, well, looking forward, what does this week, this maybe a short week, look like for you? Any concerns, or what will you guys be doing this week to prepare?
Well, I mean, obviously everything's a short week. We don't get much time to revel in this victory, which is a bad thing because these kids need to enjoy things before they move on, but we'll have to move on rather quickly. And we're playing a Seton team that we played last year. And we absolutely are not a Seton team. It's a River Valley team that we played last year in the quarterfinals. And we understand that they were an entire junior team last year, and they've all grown up a year. And these guys are playing it as well as anybody in the state. And obviously they've done that. They've showed that by beating some big teams. And so I think we're going to have our hands full just trying to get healthy on short rest and putting together something to just try to compete with them.
Awesome. Well, congratulations. Awesome win. Go enjoy it. Thank you very much. See ya.
Thanks, Ron. Coach Dane Thompson there and his final thoughts and comments on this game. And let's see if Ron can grab a couple more interviews for us. I think majority of the players have made their way into the locker room. Celebration almost over, but man, what a terrific win for the Yellowjackets. Not a lot of people gave them credit, especially at the beginning of the season. Almost everybody suggesting that they were not going to be the team that they were in past years, and they certainly have had a lot of inexperience, a lot of young players, a lot of small players, especially up front, but they have done some tremendous things, a lot of work over the course of the season to improve upon their season. This is a different Yellow Jacket team that beat the Cougars here tonight.
Well, absolutely. It's a better team than started. We know that for sure, and I think Coach Thompson nailed it. I think the first time they met, they played a little bit afraid almost, and you can't do that against a team as good as the Show Low Cougars. And tonight I think they played much more confident. They definitely were on a mission. They wanted to make a point, and I think they did with an exclamation mark. But again, you've got to give kudos also to the Show Low Cougars. I mean, we talked about it. Getting hurt, it was the Marky Potter, we saw him unfortunately go out early. That's that second play of the game, and that's a guy you can't afford to lose. That's two players, one on offense, one on defense. He's a guy you'd love to have back. And then the play of Jace Wyatt, he's a guy that is a game changer. He's a guy that offensively, we saw him early in the year. He's the one that's out front leading the way, making all these blocks, and just a big physical guy that's a team leader. And defensively, he anchors the inside of that defense, does an outstanding job. And so you've got a guy out there, a heroic effort. He's only playing at whatever percent he is, and yet he's refusing to come in or get off the field. He's fighting his way back out there, even though he can barely get up, making plays and really trying to encourage his team. Hey, the Show Low Cougars, obviously, Coach Reisdorf, I'm sure, talking to him, got their heads up. I know their fans gave them a big round of applause. Extremely proud of them, and they battled tonight. And it's not always the best team that wins, and I think athletically, when you match these two teams up and the way they played all year, that's why it's such a shocker. But tonight, just like every game, on any given night, any given team, and a great effort by the Blue Ridge Yellowjackets, a great effort by the Show Low Cougars, and I tell you, the fans won because this is about as good a game as you could ever wish for.
I think if we get a chance to talk to Coach Reisdorf after this one, he will talk about the turnovers tonight. That was something that gave the Jackets some short fields that they were able to take advantage of, not early in the game, but late in the game they were able to come away with some victories.
Yeah, and I think
away with some scores.
I think part of that is the physicalness of the game. You see these two teams, and just every play, every player's out there giving their all. And, when you looked at the effort, I think it was in the second quarter you could see guys starting to put their hands on their hips, exhausted. And, there are a lot of guys playing both ways. That's what happens in the smaller size schools like we have. The really good athletes, they got to play every play, not much break. And as a result, we saw that as we got into the fourth quarter. You see more guys limping, more guys beat up, and definitely the cramping going on. I mean, you couldn't have had a better effort. Just an outstanding job.
Again, we apologize for our connection for our fans listening on radio tonight. Certainly some bad connection speeds. Bandwidth has dropped considerably in the last 5 minutes of this game. Obviously, a lot of people online right now trying to make communication with others about this upset win tonight for the Yellowjackets.
I just like listening to you try to talk technical, like you know what bandwidth means. You throw it out there like you have a clue, and yet I'm amazed every time you get your car started. So
you know what?
You're
Thanks.
doing a great job, Camden.
Thanks.
Just want to say kudos.
I'm going to take that and just run with it because I really like the fact that you said a nice thing about me.
Well, you know, it was a reach, it was a stretch, but I got to give you kudos because you bought lunch.
Yeah, it was. It was hidden in a lot of sarcasm, but I'm going to take it for what it wasn't. Hey, special thanks tonight. We want to say a special thanks to one of our sponsors tonight. This game's been brought to you in part by Melissa Covington at American Family Insurance. All of your protection under one roof. Melissa Covington can help you out with your any of your auto, home, life, business insurance needs. Go see her at 4451 South White Mountain Road in Show Low. That's Melissa Covington at American Family Insurance, proud sponsor of high school football here on iTalk 106.7 and worldwide on iTalk1067.com. Let's go to Punt Cooley and take a look inside the numbers tonight that tell the true story of this contest. It was really a game of two halves, Punt.
Absolutely. Well, at halftime we talked about how close these two teams were in terms of their total offensive production. Show Low hitting 124, Blue Ridge at 115. And that just flipped on its head in the second half. Blue Ridge ends up with a total of 189 yards in total offense in the second half alone compared to Show Low's 90 yards. So Show Low ends up with 213 total offense for the game total. Blue Ridge 304. And the big stat, Camden, when you look at these two stat sheets between the two teams, Blue Ridge just completely dominated time of possession, around 29 minutes total for the game, compared to Show Low's roughly 14. And you guys talked about Blue Ridge showing up on defense, and their defense was their offense in a lot of ways tonight, I think, by just keeping Show Low off the field. Show Low passing for Colby Maxwell, 13 completions on 22 attempts for 132 yards, and about 60 of those 132 were in that last possession when they made that last drive down the field. A good night for Quentin Clark, 4 receptions for 32 yards. Jerem Fawcett had the 1 reception for 31 yards and the first touchdown in the first half. And then Bryce Rove, a couple of receptions for 9 yards. The big rusher for Show Low tonight, to be expected, Dallin Crandall, but he was held to 57 yards on 9 carries by that Blue Ridge defense. And again, Show Low ending up with 213 yards, 10 first downs, and just the 1 touchdown. Blue Ridge, leading rushers for Blue Ridge, actually Nolan Cook and Chris Johnson, both around 80 yards. Nolan Cook, 80 yards on 20 carries. Chris Johnson on 14. And Spencer Hall goes 12 for 19 for 97 yards. His big target tonight, actually Nate Miles, Henry. 4 receptions for 26 yards. And then Brennan Schimmel, 3 receptions for 26, and then a few other guys. But Blue Ridge able to generate 15 first downs in tonight's game. Of course, getting the 2 touchdowns and just the 1 turnover, and that was in the first half with that interception. So despite a big penalty margin for Blue Ridge, they had 9 penalties for 70 yards compared to Show Low's just 3 penalties for 20 yards. Again, the big stat that just really shines out to me in tonight's game is just Blue Ridge being able to hold on to the ball, burn up a lot of clock, and getting the 2 touchdowns. And just an awesome game. What do you say?
Absolutely a great game, both ways, on both sides of the ball. And if you're a Cougar fan, of course, this is a bitter bitter defeat. They hate to be beat by Blue Ridge anytime, but much less in the semifinals. I think if they had their choice, there was a lot of excitement after the win early on in the season. I think they had their choice. In fact, I know if they had their choice, they would have preferred to lose in this regular season and win here tonight.
And they've done that so many times. I mean, this is, I think, the first time we've seen Blue Ridge get beat by Show Low and come back and beat them. We've seen it the other way where Show Low is the victor, and it's a tough call. I think it's a no-brainer. The Show Low Cougars definitely don't want to be where they're at right now. But what I like to see is, we're seeing still some of the shots from down on the field, and these guys are resilient. The courage, the way they play, they put it all out there, and yet they're with their families. They're enjoying the little brothers and sisters and able to regroup, and it's all perspective. Again, this would have been the best state championship ever.
And let's take this opportunity to thank some of those kids that have helped us out all season long with our video portion of our product on italk1067.com. Technical director tonight, Sage McCrill. Graphics, Dakota Hayes. Audio and executive producer, Mel West. Field camera, Zach Perkins, Sky Perez, Michael Pierce, Brittany Riggins, Trent Kleinman. Main camera, Micah Davis. Production assistants, McKenna Brannon, Zach Davis, and Ember Evans. And a special thanks to our effects mic tonight, Henry Hartlub, I believe is the last name. Ron,
kudos to Henry. He was down there on the sidelines risking his life.
So Henry Hartlub, we appreciate what he did for us, bringing us the effects, the sounds of tonight's contest. And a reminder that you can watch tonight's contest next week on City 4 TV.
It's going to be a doozy.
It's available on City 4 TV starting on Monday night at 7 o'clock. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7. Then again on Saturday at 1:30. Tune in to City 4 TV for a replay of tonight's exciting victory as the Yellowjackets defeat the Cougars 14-7. And again, I didn't think we would be at this point at this time. I really thought this was going to be a cruise control victory for the Cougars tonight. I thought that they would cruise into the state championship game and beat up on either Seton or River Valley. Now we understand River Valley may be for real.
Well, again, River Valley, a team that, wins when they need to most. And I can't help but think, the only thing they could hope for is what happened tonight. It was a battle, and these two teams put it all out there. And I think what they're hoping is a short week. It's going to be hard for the Blue Ridge Yellowjackets to recover. I think it would have been much easier for the Show Low Cougars just by the sheer number of athletes they've got. Again, it's a smaller team for the Yellowjackets, and we'll see how quickly. Their coaches definitely long in tooth. They've been down in that game how many times. We'll see how they pull it off again. But excited to have a team from the White Mountains in the championship. Just unfortunately, it wasn't both teams.
Well, we've struggled, as we mentioned, keeping a connection with the studio. And for our radio fans, a reminder that the winner tonight was the Blue Ridge Yellowjackets, 14-7. Let's go downstairs and check in with Ron Everingham. Ron?
Okay, here we go. Down here at the Yellowjacket party that's happening on the field. Grabbed quarterback Spencer Hall. Spencer, amazing game. Just talk a little bit about what your mentality was coming in. Obviously you guys thought that you could win the game. Did you guys implement the exact game plan that you had planned for this?
We did. We came into the game with confidence and hoping that we could execute our offensive drive and that we could execute what we've practiced, and I feel like we did. I feel like it started out a little rough, few mistakes here and there, especially by me, a couple missed throws, but, we came together. Our defense was outstanding, shut them down. It was our defense. They won the game.
Awesome. Well, tell us a little, kind of a play of the game. You get drilled down on that end of the field. You took a very hard hit, and you come out of play and you come back in and throw a touchdown pass. What were you thinking? How are you feeling after that hit?
Well, after the hit, I don't know what I was thinking. I came up Tweety Birdie. I came up, I didn't know what was going on for a sec, but I was just so excited. I knew I couldn't go out, and it was a great play call by Coach Morrow. So, just exciting. But I'm still shaking up.
Awesome. Well, coming in, thinking about what you got to do for this week. You're a leader on this team. What's going to be your message to the team? What has been your message? What are you talking about on the bus ride and things like this? Looking forward to this week. You're going to play River Valley.
Right. I just keep telling my guys we got to work as hard as we can. We got to just execute what we know. Just about going as hard as you can.
Awesome. Well, congratulations. Proud of you, man. All right. Back up to you guys.
All right. Thanks, Ron. We've had all kinds of technical. I can't believe this is the first semifinal game where we've had this many technical issues.
Well, technically speaking, you're absolutely right. I think it was the bandwidth. But I wanted Ron to ask him which Schimmel he threw to. Was it the one in the middle, or did he throw to the one on the right or left? Whichever one he picked, it was the right one. He took a big shot. I know he had to be. I mean, that's one of those that jars your teeth. And you could see he was shaken up on it.
Now I see what you're talking about.
And then to come back in and throw it on a line the way he did, and again, the Show Low Cougars defended it so well, and it's one of those where they couldn't have played it any better, but somehow the ball magically gets between them. I mean, it's a game of just inches. I mean, not even inches, but great night.
Well, we saw Schimmel on a drop touchdown pass in the first half that looked like it may have been deflected just a little bit. We saw Hall underthrow him for a pass that should have gone for 6 in the first half, and then he finally is able to connect and threads a needle on that final pass to make that to get the touchdown, and Schimmel able to just back up into the end zone for the touchdown.
Well, what a shot it was, and absolutely, and again, I think what he mentioned was absolutely accurate. You know, they get off to a rough start offensively, really couldn't get things going, but the defense, I think, built confidence. They made, the Show Low Cougars scored, and you think, oh no, hang on, because again, mounting drives, doing some things where I mean, they are just so powerful, and yet the Blue Ridge Yellowjackets managed to keep them out of the end zone after that, and it seemed like they kept battling, scrapping along, and somehow kept them out of the end zone, and then offensively in the second half finally figured a way to get into the end zone, and after that, obviously, it's a different game tied up, and the Yellowjackets come back with one more score and make a stop. We saw the ball all the way down to the 3. The Show Low Cougars go all the way down to about the 30, I think. I'm not sure, but it couldn't have been a better game. Just an outstanding performance for both.
Well, the site for the state championship game will be North Canyon High School, as the Yellowjackets will advance to play the River Valley Dust Devils, who defeated the Sentinels of Seton Catholic earlier tonight. And it'll be the Dust Devils and the Yellowjackets in the state championship game at 6:30 p.m. at North Canyon High School. We'll also have a game at 2 o'clock as the Round Valley Elks move on. They defeated Arizona Lutheran earlier tonight. They squeaked by to get a win, and they face the winner of that Thatcher-Yuma Catholic game. I believe it's Yuma Catholic with the win over Thatcher tonight. So it's going to be Yuma Catholic and Round Valley at the 2 o'clock session. Well, we invite you along here, and
that's going to be a great game. What a celebration! Again, it's great to see the Round Valley Elks back into the championship, and we saw Arizona Lutheran play against the Show Low Cougars, I think, didn't we? Wasn't that the team that played Show Low? Oh, it was at their field. I'm sorry. So it wasn't. But again, schools, even though, it's amazing the athletes they have on the field. So kudos to the Round Valley Elks battling and getting back into the championship.
I'll tell you, we've had a hard time staying on in this post-game show, so we'll take this opportunity to talk about the Indian Pine Restaurant player of the game. Indian Pine Restaurant, great concert going on coming up this weekend, and we invite you to come out to that. The Indian Pine Restaurant also hosting some of the best pizza on the mountain. Come out, pick your toppings. You can dine in or call your order and pick it up.
And we've done all of the above. It is obviously great pizza, but and again, want to thank them. And when we talk about outstanding play, I think it was outstanding team play by both teams, and you could probably name 10 guys on each side that probably deserve it. Absolutely. I think, honestly, we'll throw it to Spencer Hall. He's had a rough week. He lost his uncle just a day ago, still manages to come up, make a throw after being knocked out of the game. I mean, he had some great people around him, outstanding play. As he mentioned, the defense does a great job. The offense holds the ball for quite a bit, which was probably the only way they could keep Sholo from running the score up, and then comes back and makes those plays. We saw him run for yards that, play breaks up. He didn't make a lot of mistakes. He underthrew maybe one or two, but he also made some incredible throws. Kudos to Spencer Hall, and he's our guy, in my opinion.
Yeah, gets that throw to Nate Miles. As you mentioned, that screenplay back to the other side. You could almost give it to the offensive coordinator tonight for the play calling down the stretch for the Yellowjackets. But Spencer Hall, hats off to you, our Indian Pine Restaurant Player of the Game here on iTalk 106.7 and iTalk1067.com. It's going to wrap up our broadcast. We invite you back not next week. We invite you back on Saturday as the Jackets will get the 6:30 game against River Valley. We'll also have on the radio at 2 o'clock the Round Valley game against Yuma Catholic, live from North Canyon High School here on iTalk 106.7 and worldwide on iTalk1067.com. We invite you along. Hope that you enjoyed tonight's contest. Special thanks to our in-studio producer tonight, Royce Kincannon, our statistician and spotter tonight, Punt Cooley, along with Mike Caldwell. And down on the sideline tonight, our executive producer and sideline reporter, Ron Everingham. Mel West, the executive producer on the video side of things. Don't forget, you can catch tonight's contest on City 4 TV starting on Monday at 7 o'clock, then again on Wednesday and Friday at 7, and then at 1:30 on Saturday. That'll wrap things up for us. Again, the final score. The Yellowjackets victorious over the Cougars of Sholo High School by a final of 14-7. They upset the #1 team in the state to advance to the state championship game on Saturday at 6:30. I'm Camden Smith for Bill London saying so long, everybody.